Get on board cruise with 660 AM, The Answer. Join us October 23rd through the 30th with Matthew West. Along with pastor and Bible teacher Greg Laurie.
The highest calling of God is what God has called
Mr. Talkbox, and more. You and your family will travel aboard Holland America's New Amsterdam as we travel to Grand Turks, San Juan, St. Martin, and more. Best of all, enjoy music and inspiration from Matthew West and Pastor Greg Laurie. Space is very limited. Get details now at 660amtheanswer.com. We'll see you on the Storyteller Cruise from 660 AM, The Answer.
From our sister station, snag your 94.9 KLTY and Interstate Battery Celebrate Freedom t-shirt and goodies at CelebrateFreedom.com. You'll save $10 off parking when you pick up your CF26 tickets at any Interstate Batteries, all battery centers, Quick Car, Taco Casa, or Care Now. Mark your calendars for June 25th at South Fork Ranch. Go online to CelebrateFreedom.com. Sponsored by North Texas Chevy Dealers, Cornerstone Staffing, Abilene Christian University online graduate programs, and Frontier Communications.
We have a special free Money Matters retirement seminar 10 a.m. Saturday in the Money Matters building in Plano or 1 p.m. Hilton, Arlington. If you're retired or retiring soon, don't miss it. Learn to take advantage of gains when possible while protecting your retirement from a stock market crash. Find out how to properly diversify your portfolio, the best time to take Social Security, 5 strategies to save on income tax, how to plan for price increases and inflation, plus more. Register at moneymatters.net. That's moneymatters.net or call 800-994-0302.
Learn a little something at the start of your day. The Mark Davis Show. Mornings 7 to 10 on 660 AM. The Answer. Isn't thinking so much more fun than getting yelled at? The Wells Report on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. Our telephone number 866-660-5759. Day before yesterday, Donald Trump met with evangelicals at a closed-door meeting, trying to get closer to a decision for evangelicals to support Donald Trump, which is not something that's easy to do. There are a lot of people that have very strong morality that are also very religious people, and I will tell you that those people are going to have trouble voting for Donald Trump based on what they believe Donald Trump brings to the moral question in America. Somewhat off the topic, Jeremy, who is a former Christian who is apparently trying to make sure that everybody realizes it, has joined us to debate whether or not being a Christian means that you are more moral. Is that basically what you're trying to get across, Jeremy?
I mean, for the most part. I mean, I'm not saying there are plenty of moral Christians. I mean, most of my family are Christians and very moral people, but I feel like a lot of people mistake Christianity with being a more moral person. I mean, all it takes is one look at a Catholic priest to know that's not necessarily always true.
Well, for someone who's Catholic, that's kind of a rotten thing to say.
Well, I mean, people say bad things about it. Muslims all the time, and nobody seems to care. I'm not trying to badmouth Catholics. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's a good thing to not badmouth Catholics because this is a 2,000-year-old organization, and if you add up everything that could possibly be bad, if you add it all together, it comes up to about 80 years out of 2,000. We'll put that record up against anyone's.
And I completely understand that, and I definitely think that Catholics have done a lot of good. But I mean, if you look at the bad that they did with the thousands and thousands of children, I think they might have a different opinion.
Thousands and thousands of children.
Yes.
That's
all I would think.
Based on the millions and millions and millions that they have educated.
Oh, and that's what I said.
You're talking about, you're talking as if you have some idea of what you're talking about. I'm inside the church. I know what I'm talking about. So my situation goes like this. They're not thousands and thousands and thousands. So you need to moderate your, you know what you need to do. You need to get to your point or I'm going to move on because all you're doing right now is trying to slap Christians around and it's annoying me. We'll make a point.
Christians that I love. Okay, well, you asked me several different questions and you don't like my
answers. Just pick one. Just pick one. Just do me a favor. Just do me a favor. Just remember, the motto of the show is truth spoken here. not garbage spoken here.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely understand that, and I didn't mean to step on your toes with your show. That's not what I intended to do.
You're not stepping on my toes. You're boring the audience. That's different.
Well, I think I'm speaking some truth they don't want to hear.
No, I think you're boring the audience because you're not speaking truth. Now go right ahead. Keep going. Go ahead. Go.
Yes, you had specifically asked me why I'm no longer a Christian. And one of the things I was going to tell you is because I see the immorality of the Bible, which led me to that. Now, if you want to know specifically what, when there are specific rules of how you can own slaves, instead of saying slavery is wrong, the way they said being homosexual is wrong, they didn't say that about slavery. That, to me, is something that should have been a given. If there's a God that believes that.
Well, the next time you write the Bible, you can do that.
So you're saying that slavery is okay because God says it's okay.
You are absolutely connecting garbage together with other garbage and trying to make some sort of cogent agreement. You know what happened? No, I'm not dodging at all. To believe, for example, that God ever thought that slavery was good is just plain bogus crap.
Exodus 21.
What?
Exodus 21 talks about owning a slave.
Listen, you know what, Jeremy?
You may beat
it's like
your
this.
slave as long as they don't die. As long as they don't die within 3 days.
So Jewish law?
You are
That's
not
not Christian
responsible
law.
for their death.
Okay, so we've covered the Jews and the way they handle their slaves. Of course, they were slaves most of the time. So talk to me a little bit about Christians now.
Okay. Do you know the passage of the Bible that says every dot and tittle of the Old Testament is still law? You know that, right?
Let me do this. Let me do this here.
I'm sorry to hit you with truth on your show. I know that's hard for conservatives sometimes.
You know, you haven't said anything except gobbledygooky and crap.
And you haven't responded to one thing except for personal attacks
I
on
am about to respond. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
None of this has anything to do with what happened today. Do you know what the Wells Report is?
Yes.
What is
I
it?
do. It's a call-in radio show.
It is a news program that talks about the big issues of the day. We report the issues of the day. We tell you what happened in the news. We tell you what the facts are. No, well, I'm getting to that. We tell you what the facts are. Then I make commentary. Then we debate the commentary. You haven't debated anything that we've talked about so far.
Well, yes, I have. The reason I called was because I told you that you were equating morality with Christian values.
No. The Valkyrie symphony inside your head said that. What I was saying was I was talking about the Christian right looking to try to figure out some ways to vote for Donald Trump. I was talking about Donald Trump, not Christianity. I was talking about the fact that Christians, in this particular case and context, had to do with a group of moral people that were having difficulty dealing with Donald Trump. And you started talking about Christians. It's like you took the exact wrong subject of what we're talking about because I was talking about Donald Trump because Donald Trump's in the news today, not Christians.
And obviously he's not a Christian. I believe that he's not. I don't think Hillary Clinton is either.
You don't have any idea what you're talking about because as far as we know, okay, so what makes you believe that I've heard Donald Trump say that he was Presbyterian. Why is he a liar?
Well,
at least we're on the topic now.
He is
so why don't you believe him?
Well, for one, anytime he's actually talked about the Bible, he doesn't know anything about it. He can't give any specifics about it. And again, Hillary.
He's only talked about the Bible once. He's only talked about the Bible. He's only talked about the Bible once, Jeremy.
Well, actually, that's not true. He has talked about religion in the past.
No, you said the Bible.
You
said the Bible, Jeremy. I'm talking about the Bible. He said the Bible once, and he misquoted the way you say chapter and verse in the Bible. That was the big mess. So you're saying that based on that, you're sure he's not a Presbyterian.
Not
what else?
When he's out there and he's saying, "Oh, the Bible, my favorite book, the Bible," when he's talking like that, you have to use some discern. You have to discern a little bit.
So in other words, you have to be just suspicious and anti-Trump to be able to determine that he's actually lying because he might not be. But you don't want to allow that. I did
not say for sure.
So you believe, talking about opinion, you believe that he's a liar. Okay.
Yes,
but you have no basis for it. But you have no basis for it.
Well, I have experience, and I have my own.
You have experience, and so on and so forth.
Of people who are liars.
Okay, well that's perfectly fine, but that's not truth. That's opinion.
It may not be.
Talking about
I'm
truth.
Not saying for sure it is, but here's the thing: you said I called in off topic. I did not call in off topic.
You did call in off topic, and that is the truth.
Why not? Can I explain to you why not?
No, you can't. Here, because I'm going to tell you what. Okay, I'm going to ask you this. You hush now. I'm going to get back to what we're talking about on the radio broadcast today. Okay,
and I would love
we're talking about Donald Trump.
In for.
We're talking about Donald Trump now. You ready? You're going to shut up?
Sure.
Or are you just going to? What are you going to do here? You can have a conversation.
I will listen to your question. Go
because
ahead.
I can put you on hold when I'm talking and then take you off hold so that you can speak if you want to do it that way.
I appreciate that you haven't done that. I appreciate that because
we're right about there. We're right about there. Now hush.
I appreciate it.
Hush.
Go ahead.
Who are you going to vote for?
I don't know if I'm going to vote at all. I definitely can't. I mean, I've never voted for.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't know? You are going to vote, right?
There's a good chance. I'll vote. If I vote, I
want you to make a decision right now. I want you to make if today was election day, would you vote right now?
Oof, man.
Yes or no?
I'd have to vote Hillary. Yes, I'd have to vote.
You have to vote for Hillary. Why?
I have to. Because for one, I mean, I truly don't. Honestly, I feel like because I'm a little more liberal than I think.
No,
Hillary
really?
might be. Yeah, I know. Surprise. But it depends. Socially, there are some things I can be pretty conservative about. I don't consider myself liberal or conservative, Democrat or Republican. I could vote for a Republican if they weren't just so crazy sometimes about some of their beliefs. However, Hillary Clinton is crazy and she's crooked and she's a liar.
If I can say something, with somebody as judgmental as you, it's amazing you can have a conversation with anyone.
I know, it's crazy.
Well, yeah, it really is. I gotta go. Yeah.
Hillary, even though she was a liar?
Oh, God, he was going to vote for Hillary, even though she's a liar, but he's not going to vote for Trump because he's a liar. And he knows what a liar is because they talk about the Bible. And the Christians are not necessarily moral because they're immoral. I was a Christian, but I'm not a Christian anymore, but I'm moral. But morality isn't necessarily because of religion, even though it's absolutely because of religion. And did I cover just about everything he was trying to get across? Okay, all right. I really like people like Jeremy to call me on the telephone and actually have a conversation. But Jeremy he looks at this broadcast like a workout machine. He thinks it's a Nautilus machine for his brain. Okay? We don't put ourselves in front of the broadcast. It's rule number 1. You don't put yourself in front of the Wells Report. If you want to discuss an issue, call up and discuss an issue. I'll bend the rules a little bit. He was off topic. I tried to nudge him back onto it and he wanted to just spaz out. So, okay, go on. But the thing about it is that guys like that are people that we have to listen to. They have something to say. If they could just figure out how to say it without annoying people to the point where they just get turned off like I did. There's nothing I can do with this guy. He argues with every point I make and flits from talking point to talking point to talking point. It's more like an essay, Jeremy. You have to take a question and you have to say, okay, here's the question. What is my response to that question based on what I know? And, oh, by the way, be ready to discuss what you know. It's not I'm going to get into a fencing. I'm going to get into a fencing match with you. That's not what this broadcast is for. This broadcast is about the news. And we talk about the big issues of the day. Yeah, I put my opinion out there. Sure, I do. Because as you know, if I did nothing more than a news broadcast every day, this show would be about a half an hour long. I'm on the air for 4 hours. It means that we get a chance to actually discuss what the news means. And unlike most talk show hosts in America, I do not stand up and say, I know everything and that's the way it is. No, I don't do that. I say, here's what I think. And what I expect out of people that call me on the telephone is to relax and calm down and have a nice adult conversation. Give Jeremy a few more years once he gets out of his teens, and we'll probably have one of those or two. Be nice. I'll look forward to it. All right. Salad days. They can be entertaining, except with him. All right. Let me give you back some, let's get back to the news here. In the 2 weeks since Hillary Clinton wrapped up the Democrat presidential primary, runner-up Bernie Sanders has promised to work hard to defeat Donald Trump, but he's given no sign he's going to embrace Clinton, and neither have his voters. In fact, 22% of his voters that were researched today, according to Bloomberg Politics, 22% say they're going to vote for Trump. I think that number is actually bigger. I think it's more about 30%, maybe 35%, because I'm reasonably sure that many of the votes that Bernie Sanders got had nothing to do with Bernie Sanders wanting the United States to embrace socialism. I'm very sure that the votes that Bernie Sanders got mainly had to do with the fact that people were not going to vote for Hillary Clinton and they weren't voting for president. I think that's basically where we find ourselves there. So now, according to a June 14th Bloomberg Politics national poll of likely voters, barely half of those who favored Sanders, 55%, plan to vote for Clinton. 22% say they'll vote for Trump. 18% favor Libertarian Gary Johnson. But Gary Johnson is the absolute antithesis of Bernie Sanders. I'm pretty sure that most of these people are going to settle on Trump. I'm a registered Democrat, but I can't bring myself to vote for another establishment politician like Hillary, says Laura Arms, a 43-year-old homemaker from Beeville, Texas, who participated in the Bloomberg poll, plans to vote for Trump. I don't agree with a lot of what Trump says, but he won't owe anybody. What you see is what you get. Conversations with about 24 Sanders supporters revealed a lingering distrust of Clinton as too establishment-friendly, hawkish, and untrustworthy. Some Sanders fans see it the primary was not a simple preference for purity over pragmatism, but a moral choice between an honest figure and someone whom they consider to be fundamentally corrupt in the ways of Washington. There you go. 866-660-5759, 866-660-5759. Couple of other things here as we turn the news and the broadcast toward Hillary Clinton. It appears as though they have another smoking gun in the Hillary Clinton private email server mess that has to do with the State Department. It's not going to be pretty. It gets worse every moment. It involves more people. It's coming apart, and all we're doing is waiting for the FBI to finish up their investigation and make their recommendations to the Justice Department to see what happens after that. We're going to take a look at this next. You're listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer. You are listening, and we appreciate it. Back with more in just a moment. Some companies just don't want your conservative dollars. Well, actually, they want your dollars, but what they want to do is turn your conservative dollars into liberal ones. Hi, I'm Jon-David Wells from the Wells Report. You don't get to do this very often, but this time you get to choose where your money goes. Does it matter to you that companies like Target use your money to promote the left? It bothers me. I've asked Susan not to shop at Target. But Target's not the only company that uses your money against you. Big mobile cell phone companies do the very same thing. Remember former Congressman Allen West? He's former Congressman Allen West because of one of these very same big mobile cell phone companies. We don't have to patronize companies that use our money to undermine our beliefs. That's why it's time for you to move to Patriot Mobile. 5% of every dollar that you spend on your phone bill is immediately donated to causes you and I believe in. Right now, get a Samsung Galaxy S5 or iPhone 5S with unlimited talk, text, and data for only $50 a month. Call Patriot Mobile today, 1-800-A-PATRIOT, 1-800-A-PATRIOT, or check out patriotmobile.com. Tell them you heard about it on the Wells Report.
Now, the Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer. Sean Hannity believes our government is not looking out for our well-being.
441 Syrian refugees have been admitted to the United States just since the Orlando. I've got a whole list here of names of people, all warning that ISIS will infiltrate the refugee population. Now, is that going to stop them from doing something stupid? Apparently not, because they're going forward with it.
The Sean Hannity Show, afternoons at 2, right before Michael Medved at 5 on 660 AM. The Answer.
Hi, this is Andy Tuttle, host of Tuttle Talk every Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. right here on 660 AM. The Answer. We're in a real estate market where there's a lot of difficulty, but in difficulty, there's a lot of opportunity as well. Buying, selling, avoiding foreclosure, modifying your credit, all these things are so important to your livelihood. This show is dedicated to cutting through some of the big headlines that you see out there and teaching you how to win in any marketplace. Thank you for tuning in to Tuttle Talk every Sunday, 4 p.m. on 660 AM. The Answer. I look forward to speaking with you.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some urgent news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from PBS host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we're about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-644-3169 now to get your personalized copy rushed to you today. Do you want to avoid mistakes baby boomers and seniors can make when they buy annuities? Those mistakes now could be costly later to you and your family. Call 800-644-3169. That's 800-644-3169. Employees of J.D. Melberg Financial have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer.
If you're a Christian and own or lead a business, you're in a unique position. You strive to serve God, your customers, and your employees. You may even wonder if there are other Christians who own businesses trying to achieve these same goals. There are, and FCCI has found them. FCCI, the Fellowship of Companies for Christ International, has spent the last few decades building a network of some of the nation's strongest CEOs who share your faith. We want to connect you with them. Join us September 18th to the 22nd at the Ritz-Carlton in Sarasota and meet well-known leaders like George Barna, Horst Schulze, the founder of Ritz-Carlton, and former Miami Dolphins and Marlins owner Wayne Huizenga Jr. Learn how to better steward your company for God with hundreds of other Christian CEOs at this year's FCCI Business Conference in September. The Fellowship of Companies for Christ International. There are only 100 seats remaining. Reserve your place today at fcci.org. That's fcci.org.
Coming to Dallas Sunday night, August 21st. Outcry Summer 2016 Tour, featuring the songs and the sound of Hillsong worship. Plus, Carrie Joe. Featuring Rend Collective, Elevation Worship, and Urban Rescue.
Part of the Dallas Baptist University Concert Series.
An unforgettable night of worship.
Greater power now comes in a smaller package with the Kubota compact skid steer loaders from Zimmer Kubota. The new SSV loaders are easier to transport and easier to maneuver in tight spaces. These Kubota compact loaders move more materials faster with increased lifting capacities and higher lift heights. Get financing as low as 0% APR for up to 5 years now through June 30th, 2016. Call toll-free 800-794-4992 for details about costs and terms. Visit any of the 5 Zimmer Kubota locations today to see the power and performance of the Kubota SSV compact skid steer loaders.
Listen to us live on iHeartRadio, 660 AM. The Answer. The Wells Report, must-hear radio on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. This is 660 AM. The Answer. CNN's money fact checkers, Christina Alessi and Lori Frankel, ended up with egg on their faces yesterday. They rated as false a well-established and proven Clinton cash fact involving Hillary Clinton's State Department approving the transfer of 20% of U.S. uranium to the Russian government, as 9 investors in the deal funneled $145 million into the Clinton Foundation. Under the guise of fact-checking Donald Trump's Wednesday speech, Alessi and Frankel purported to verify whether Clinton's State Department approved the transfer of 20% of American uranium holdings to Russia, while 9 investors in the deal funneled $145 million to the Clinton Foundation. That's bribery. Alessi and Frankel rate the claim as false, allege there's no hard evidence of a quid pro quo. The CNN Money reporters also conceded that CNN several times had asked the Clinton Foundation to confirm whether the 9 investors who benefited from the deal also contributed to the foundation. The foundation has yet to respond. Why they didn't confirm the $145 million in Clinton Foundation donations is curious. A 4,000-word front-page story written over a year ago in the New York Times verified the Clinton cash uranium revelation in stunning detail, including charts and graphs laying out the flow of millions of dollars from 9 investors in the uranium deal, who flowed $145 million into Hillary's family foundation. That is bribery. I don't care that CNN blows the research. They do that all the time. But I do care that we don't have that we have a State Department that's essentially an enrichment tool, not uranium, by the way, an enrichment tool for Hillary Clinton. This is the Wells Report.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. What if you could store your IRA or 401k where you can see, touch, and hold it in person in the form of physical gold and silver coins? I know I would, and you can't do that with stocks. With the Augusta Gold and Silver IRA, you can transfer retirement savings into physical coins, store them where you can actually see them. Free shipping, zero management fees, and Augusta pays all upfront costs. Getting started is absolutely free. Rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau, enjoys a 98% 5-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call toll-free 1-855-222-5882 now for your free guide to Augusta Gold IRAs. Call toll-free 1-855-222-5882. That's 1-855-222-5882 or visit AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
Think you're fat? You might just be bloated. Find out by calling now for a free trial of New Biotics, the new breakthrough that flattens bloated bellies fast. For a free trial, call 1-800-300-3961. Strict limit of 1 per household.
I used to be plagued by potbelly and constant bloating. After taking New Biotics, my belly flattened and continues to get flatter. My sense of bloating and discomfort is gone.
If you've got a big belly, you might not be fat. You might just be bloated. New Biotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body, periodic heartburn, and acid reflux. If your belly flattening results are too dramatic, simply reduce use to every other day. Think you might be bloated? See how much flatter New Biotics makes your belly. But hurry, call now for details while we're still giving it away for free. 1-800-300-3961. That's 1-800-300-3961. 1-800-300-3961.
Welcome to Staples. Hi, Staples guy. We're moving offices, and it's a giant pain in the... Bubble roll? What? Well, Staples has bubble roll, packing tape, all kinds of boxes, everything you need to move, and all at low prices. Great. That's a giant load off my... Packing peanuts? No. Shrink wrap? No, but now moving will be a walk in the... Packing tape? Sure.
Get low prices on everything you need to move at Staples. And right now, small boxes are just $1 when you buy 5 or more. Staples, make more happen. Offer valid on same SKU only.
660 AM The Answer. KSKY Balch Springs, Dallas, Fort Worth. The official radio station of Decision 2016. The most important election of our lifetime.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. With the failure of 4 attempts in the House for stricter gun controls and other ideas popped up in the Senate.
It is a bipartisan compromise from Maine Republican Senator Susan Collins that would block gun sales to someone on the no-fly list. It survived an attempt to kill it with 8 Republicans in support. And now top Senate Democrats and Collins are pushing for a final vote on it next week.
Fox's Mike Emanuel, another Baltimore officer acquitted on charges related to last year's death of Freddie Gray while in police custody. Gray's family attorney William Murphy says while they continue to support the state's case,
they are nonetheless disappointed that the goal of the prosecution has not been achieved.
Officer Caesar Goodson was the second found not guilty. Another trial ended in a hung jury. That retrial and 3 other trials still to be held. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Stimulating talk, 660 AM, The Answer.
Dennis Gibbs, the boat guy here, host of the Big Boat and Outdoor Show, sponsored by DallasBoatsForSale.com. Let me break it down for you. We talk about boats and boating, boat ramps, marinas, lakes and water levels, boat sales, sailboats, sailing, anchoring, sinking, grounding, buying, selling, and enjoying the fun out on the water. You picking up what I'm putting down? If it floats, we talk about it every Saturday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer.
From Plano to Denton down to Louisville too. Hot Finds has it. Also in McKinney, we'll prove it to you. Hot Finds has it.
Huff Hines has a great selection. I knew exactly what I wanted, and Huff Hines had it.
And now at both locations of family-owned and family-run Huff Hines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville, get Texas-size savings on every new Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram in stock during our Drive and Discover sales event. Plus, choose from Huff Hines Texas-size selection and save even more with the highest cash rebates, lowest financing available, and top dollar for your trade. For more, click to HuffHines.net or come to Huff Hines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano at Plano Parkway in Ohio or in Louisville. Huff Hines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram on I-35 just north of 121. And remember, for award-winning sales service and over 90 years of Texas values, Huff Hines has it.
You can buy your next gun anywhere, but there's nowhere like the Texas Gun Pros. There are gun shows, big box stores, and even the occasional eccentric dealer. But there is no one like the Texas Gun Pros. Texas Gun Pros are truly your pros for all your gun needs, bringing you big store selection with a local family experience. There truly is no one like Texas Gun Pros. What else makes the Texas Gun Pros stand out from the rest? An online catalog with hundreds of guns, guaranteed to have the one you're looking for. Texas Gun Pros is the only place in North Texas that can give you the gun you want for the price you can afford. Don't miss out on the amazing selection and friendly staff at Texas Gun Pros. Stop by their North Richland Hills location or visit them on the web at texasgunpros.com. That's texasgunpros.com. texasgunpros.com. And see how it feels to be a member of the Texas Gun Pros family.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers. If you owe the IRS or state-backed taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's good news. Due to the financial hardship many are facing in today's economy, the IRS has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Qualifying for this program will resolve your tax problem, end all collections, and possibly reduce your back taxes by up to 90%. If you are facing wage garnishments, liens, bank levies, audits, or payroll taxes, it's not too late. Your circumstances may qualify you for this special program, protecting your savings and your assets. If you owe the IRS or state-backed taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's no need to worry anymore. Call the hotline at Victory Tax Solutions to see if you qualify and potentially save thousands. For this free information, call 800-352-4757. 800-352-4757. That's 800-352-4757.
Did you know a dirty CPAP system can make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, you might not sleep so well. But now, SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It kills 99.9% of all CPAP germs, and it's completely hands-free. For a limited time, you can try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-400-5241.
SoClean changed the CPAP experience for the better. My health has improved. It's simple to use. I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean destroys CPAP bacteria, viruses, and germs, and it eliminates the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. There's no water, chemicals, or disassembly. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Call SoClean.com to try it risk-free at home for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer, only available by calling 1-800-400-5241. That's 1-800-400-5241.
As a listener to this station, you've heard a variety of companies advertising their products and services, many of them for a number of years.
I'm Walt Parker with InvestingMakesMeSick.com. I've gotten absolutely great results. No matter who's advertising, it definitely pays off. Doesn't matter what business they're in. I think they'll find it's going to be very rewarding.
My name is John Duncan, and I'm the CEO and founder of Bioscan of Los Colinas. It's simply the most effective advertising that I can do. I've advertised for the last 14 years on television, radio, and newspaper, and advertising with 660 gets the best results.
Hi, I'm Marcia West, Senior Account Manager for 660 AM The Answer. For 20 years, I've worked with companies both big and small to create cost-effective radio campaigns that get results. Let me do the same for you. Contact me today at mwest@ksky.com. That's mwest@ksky.com. I want to help you grow your business.
This is 660 AM. The Answer. Is anybody out there paying attention to what's going on in this country, in this state, and in this city? We know one man who is. You got questions? He's got answers. This is the Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. Our telephone number is 866-660-5759. 866-660-5759. Please do join us as we discuss the news and the issues of the day. 866-660-5759. I think this is smoking gun number 4. Okay, I think it's smoking gun number 4. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton failed to turn over a copy of a key message involving problems caused by her use of a private homebrew email server. This, according to the State Department today. The disclosure makes it unclear what other work-related emails may have been deleted by the presumptive Democrat presidential nominee. The email was included within messages exchanged November 13th, 2010 between Clinton and one of her closest aides, Deputy Chief of Staff Huma Abedin. At the time, emails from Clinton's BlackBerry device, routed through her personal private ClintonEmail.com server in the basement of her New York home, were being blocked by the State Department's spam filter. A suggested remedy was for Clinton to obtain a state.gov email account. Quote, let's get separate address or device, but I don't want any risk of the personal being accessible, unquote. Clinton never used a government account that was set up for her, instead continuing to rely on her private server until leaving office. This email was not among the tens of thousands of emails Clinton turned over to the agency in response to public records lawsuits seeking copies of her official correspondence. Abedin, who also used a private account on Clinton's server, provided a copy from her own inbox after the State Department asked her to return any work-related emails. That copy of the email was publicly cited last month in a blistering audit by the State Department's Inspector General that concluded Clinton and her team ignored clear internal guidance that her email setup violated federal standards and could have left sensitive material vulnerable to hackers. While this exchange was not part of the approximately 55,000 pages provided to the State Department by former Secretary Clinton, the exchange was included within a set of documents Ms. Abedin provided the department in response to the March 2015 request, according to State Department spokesman John Kirby. Clinton campaign spokesman Brian Fallon said she provided all potentially work-related emails that were still in her possession when she received the 2014 request from the State Department. Secretary Clinton had some emails with Huma that Huma didn't have, and Huma had some emails with Secretary Clinton that Secretary Clinton didn't have, said Fallon. That's a lie. That's absolutely a lie. When you send an email, one's in your sent folder, one is in the possession of the person's who you sent it to's inbox. And it's not in the sent folder, it's because somebody deleted it. Period. Fallon declined to say whether Clinton deleted any work-related emails before they were reviewed by her legal team. Clinton's lead lawyer, David Kendall, did not respond to her request for comment on Thursday, probably on the phone with Hillary saying, Hillary, how many of these am I going to have to deal with before you start telling me the truth? The November 2010 email was among documents released under court order Wednesday to the conservative legal advocacy group Judicial Watch, which has sued the State Department over access to public records related to the presumptive Democrat presidential nominee's service as the nation's top diplomat between 2009 and 2013. The case is one of about 36 lawsuits over access to records related to Clinton, including one filed by the Associated Press. Before turning over her emails to the department for review and potential public release, Clinton and her lawyers withheld thousands of additional emails she said were clearly personal, such as those involving what she described as planning Chelsea's wedding or my mother's funeral arrangements, condolence notes to friends, yoga routines, family vacations, investors giving us $145 million in the Clinton Foundation because I made it possible for Russia to have 20% of America's uranium, stuff like that.
You know, just light stuff.
Just personal stuff. Okay. Okay. That was not the news. That last part was me. I'm just playing. Clinton has never outlined in detail what criteria she and her lawyers used to determine which emails to release and which ones to delete. It's totally irrelevant. If you set up a server to run State Department email through, it's a State Department server. It becomes a part of the archives of the United States of America. We, the people of the United States, own all of that intellectual property. That's ours. Your yoga routine, which, by the way, I'm just saying, your yoga routine becomes part of the great American tapestry when you decide to make it part of the great American tapestry by putting up your own homebrew email server, ma'am. Dozens of the emails sent or received by Clinton through her private server were later determined to contain classified material. The FBI has been investigating for months whether Clinton's use of the private email server imperiled government secrets. Agents recently interviewed several of Clinton's top aides, including Abedin. As part of the probe, Clinton turned over the hard drive from her email server to the FBI. It had been wiped clean. Clinton said she did not keep copies of the emails she chose to withhold. That is obstruction of justice. Yesterday, lawyers from Judicial Watch, a conservative, questioned under oath Brian Pauliano, the computer technician who set up Clinton's private server. A transcript released today shows Pauliano repeatedly responding to the detailed questioning by invoking his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, smoking gun number 3, as he did last year before a congressional committee. Dozens of questions Pauliano declined to answer included who paid for the system, whether there was technical help to support its users, who else at the State Department used email accounts on it. Pauliano would also not answer whether he discussed setting up a home server with Clinton prior to her tenure as Secretary of State. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton and the November 2010 email cited the Inspector General audit was one of the several cited in the Inspector General audit was one of several work-related emails that his group identified that Clinton sent or received but later failed to turn over to the State Department. Contrary to her statement under oath suggesting otherwise, Ms. Clinton did not return all of her government emails to the State Department. Our goal is to find out what other emails Mrs. Clinton and the State Department are hiding. The State Department is going to writhe in pain and anger over that last part. They don't like to be included in the malfeasance of people who work for the State Department or have worked around the State Department, but the State Department is most assuredly in over their heads in this mess. John Kirby, the spokesman, is not going to try to spin anything. John Kirby is going to report the truth because John Kirby only knows the truth. This guy is turning into one of the best assets the American government has. A former Navy admiral, just plain brilliant. He's doing a superb job. One of the guys in American government you can trust. I think between he and James Comey, we just might get this story. We'll see. Now, make no mistake, John Kirby doesn't go out of his way to hurt Hillary Clinton. He just reports the news. Just like me. Not trying to hurt Hillary Clinton. Certainly not when I tell you what is going on in her life. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure you understand what's happening. Because we have been lulled to sleep by a mainstream media that has been absolutely exposed during the Obama administration as being nothing more than a stenography service for leftist politics, leftist progressive politics in the United States. 866-660-5759. Harlan in Maybank. Welcome back to the Wells Report. Good to have you here, my friend.
Good to hear. I love your program.
Thank you.
The thing that Hillary and these people that are like her refuse to acknowledge, even though Americans somehow elected this moron that we have in the office now.
Well, now wait a minute. No, those were good votes by our neighbors.
I know.
Okay, and he is the president. Come on.
Sure.
I've been good about that. Okay, they were urging President Bush for a long time, and I said, don't do it. They said, well, you will. And I said, no, I won't. Yeah. And so we're not going to.
Okay. Americans have done some really stupid things. But she refuses to acknowledge the fact that Americans, for the most part, are aware of, and she's not at all that, she is transparent.
Yeah, we can see right through her. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, the interesting thing about this is that we are seeing a very cynical, arrogant, hubris, tainted idea that for whatever reason, it's just like you said, Harlan, these people honestly believe that they're putting one over on us. It's like,
yeah, and it's not true.
Yeah,
we know exactly what they're doing any more than we know that when a 12-year-old lies to a parent.
Yes.
We know exactly what they're doing.
Yes.
It's not like we're stupid.
Yeah. I mean, Harlan, I look at this and I go, I can be fooled. I can be swindled. It's possible. But I got to tell you, if Hillary Clinton or any of these leftist crazy people, Deborah Wasserman Schultz, if they want to really hornswoggle us, they're going to have to work harder at it. I mean, look at the president, the best liar I ever saw. He's been caught in everything he's ever lied about, ever. This is the Wells Report. Some companies just don't want your conservative dollars. Well, actually, they want your dollars, but what they want to do is turn your conservative dollars into liberal ones. Hi, I'm Jon-David Wells from the Wells Report. You don't get to do this very often, but this time you get to choose where your money goes. Does it matter to you that companies like Target use your money to promote the left? It bothers me. I've asked Susan not to shop at Target. But Target's not the only company that uses your money against you. Big mobile cell phone companies do the very same thing. Remember former Congressman Allen West? He's former Congressman Allen West because of one of these very same big mobile cell phone companies. We don't have to patronize companies that use our money to undermine our beliefs. That's why it's time for you to move to Patriot Mobile. 5% of every dollar that you spend on your phone bill is immediately donated to causes you and I believe in. Right now, get a Samsung Galaxy S5 or iPhone 5S with unlimited talk, text, and data for only $50 a month. Call Patriot Mobile today, 1-800-A-PATRIOT, 1-800-A-PATRIOT, or check out patriotmobile.com. Tell them you heard about it on the Wells Report.
The Wells Report, must-hear radio on 660 AM. The Answer.
Hi, this is Andy Tuttle, host of Tuttle Talk every Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. right here on 660 AM. The Answer. We're in a real estate market where there's a lot of difficulty, but in difficulty, there's a lot of opportunity as well. Buying, selling, avoiding foreclosure, modifying your credit, all these things are so important to your livelihood. This show is dedicated to cutting through some of the big headlines that you see out there and teaching you how to win in any marketplace. Thank you for tuning in to Tuttle Talk every Sunday, 4 p.m. on 660 AM The Answer. I look forward to speaking with you.
This is Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, and I'd like to invite you to join me for our talk show every Sunday morning. We're actually trying to convert the world to organics. We talk about the natural organic program for farming, ranching, gardening, and pest control. Also, a lot of talk about health issues for animals and people. Hope you can join us for all the fun.
Make Howard Garrett the Dirt Doctor every Sunday morning from 8 to 11 a.m. right here on 660 a.m. The Answer.
This to all U.S. taxpayers. It's good news for all Americans who owe back taxes to the IRS or state and cannot afford to pay them back. The IRS is now making it easier to settle delinquent tax problems through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Due to the financial hardship many are facing in this current economic downturn, qualifying for this program will settle your delinquent tax problem, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by thousands of dollars. For this free information and to see if you qualify, call the hotline at People's Tax Relief by dialing 1-800-375-8936. If you owe back taxes and cannot afford to pay them, there's no need to worry. You may now qualify to settle your delinquent tax problems and save thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 1-800-375-8936. 1-800-375-8936. That's 1-800-375-8936.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Ask the Expert. We're with Jay Peak, speaker, author, financial educator. Jay, you recently co-authored a book with international writer and business coach Brian Tracy. Can you tell us a little bit more about the book and who it's for?
Yeah, absolutely. I co-authored the book for everybody curious about safe money strategies. And, the book is a great way for our clients to learn more about our philosophies and to see if we're really a good fit for them.
And how can people get this book?
Well, for everybody listening today, they can go to our website at peakfinancialcorporation.com and request a free copy of my national selling book, or they can call us at 844-J-PEAK. That's 844-529-7325.
Everyone really can benefit from this book. It's called Success Today. You can go online to peakfinancialcorporation.com and you'll get a free copy of it, or you could call 844-529-7325. That's 844-JAYPEAK. That's going to do it. Make sure to keep listening for the next episode of Ask the Expert.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
It's probably been about 10 years ago. I had quite a few credit cards, and it was just getting to be too much, so I called Trinity.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
They met with me, and they were able to get all of my credit cards in one lower payment. Now we're doing a lot better.
If your debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
Hey, it's Mark Davis with one of your prime summer needs, a good carpet cleaning. Summer is a busy time, so call Zero Res. Call them often. It's a $33 per room carpet cleaning special, 214-37-CLEAN. 214-37-CLEAN. They'll do the carpets. While they're there, let them do hardwood floors, granite countertops, drapes, upholstery. When they're done cleaning whatever you want, 2 free passes to any of the 5 DFW Hawaiian Falls water parks. It's Zero Res, the best carpet cleaning, and so much more. I use them. You should too. 214-37-CLEAN.
660 AM. The Answer. The Wells Report is on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. Rick and Wiley, welcome to the broadcast. Hi.
Jon-David.
Yes, sir.
99% of the time I agree with you. This one time I don't, bud.
Why?
John Kirby. He is an Obama-phile.
No, he really
not
isn't.
A truthful man. He dishonored himself when he was Speaker at DOD.
No. He was he was the PAO of DOD. In other words, the Department of Defense. He was the public affairs officer.
Right, and
he didn't do anything wrong there. As a matter of fact, he got the state job because he did such a great job at DOD.
He got the state job because he did a great job covering Obama's butt.
No. Well, go. I tell you what. Tell me what you're talking about. Tell me. Can you point to anything specific? I mean, listen.
I knew you were going to ask me.
Well,
that,
you see,
Jon-David.
Rick, I don't put people on the spot. I don't put people on the spot. But while you're doing that, I'm looking them up to see if I can find something for you.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I knew this was going to happen. And no, I cannot point out a specific instance. All I know is every time I see that guy, he is covering the Obama administration's butt.
Well,
and that's why he got the state job.
You see, I don't see it that way, because I remember like, let's look at Josh Earnest for contrast. Okay. Josh Earnest covers the president's butt.
Well,
what John Kirby does is he doesn't cover anybody's butt. What he does is he reports the story that is there. He doesn't obfuscate at all. He answers questions truthfully. Remember, the best way I can describe it is that that when, remember this big hullabaloo over whether or not the State Department had fumbled the records, or actually edited the records with what's his name, James Rosen with Fox News. Remember all that hullabaloo? Listen, here's what happened. He came to that story late because that happened before his tenure. What he did was he assembled all the facts, not the stuff that was necessarily reported. He just assembled all the facts. Very much does what we do on the Wells Report. I mean, there's a lot of innuendo that doesn't appear on this broadcast, both against Hillary, for Hillary, against Trump, for Cruz, against Cruz, blah, 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 blah. What we do is we deal with the facts. That's one of the things that got my attention about him. He puts the facts out there. And then if there's innuendo that's attached to those facts, someone will say, well, what about the fact that somebody thought that obviously means that this was that? He'll go, you'll have to ask those people, because I don't know anything about that.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Which is what I do.
No, I understand.
Sure.
And yeah, that's the easy way to get out of it.
No, I'm not trying to get out of anything.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about him.
Hang on a second. Don't go anywhere. Do you have some time?
Yeah.
Let's talk this over just a little bit. I'll keep you across the break here. We'll spend a little bit of time doing this. It's not because I'm John Kirby's press agent, but part of this broadcast is making sure that you understand when you're being screwed over and when you're not. Two very essential aspects of how you deal with the news that you get. And we're going to spend some more time talking about it next. This is the Wells Report.
Hey, everybody. Mark Davis for my friends at Good Feet, Plano, Fort Worth, and Southlake. Learn more at goodfeetdfw.com. Learn about arch supports that actually work. Good Feet is America's #1 arch support for over 20 years. And they've got arch supports designed to get people out of pain wearing all kinds of shoes, athletic shoes, casual shoes, dress shoes, men, women, flip-flops. Come on, they're discreet supports that won't be noticed in your fanciest open-style shoes. They're designed to make all shoes more comfortable for the ladies and the gentlemen. Get you out of pain today. That's what they do at Good Feet. Visit the website at goodfeetdfw.com. Set up an appointment today. Visit one of the stores, Southlake, Plano, Fort Worth. They'll follow up with you, make sure everything's going exactly right to get you out of pain, walking, working, vacationing the way you want. goodfeetdfw.com, goodfeetdfw.com. They are in Plano, Fort Worth, and Southlake, and always there for you online to answer all your questions at goodfeetdfw.com. Get out of pain today. America's #1 arch support, goodfeetdfw.com.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-700-2292. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-700-2292. That's 1-800-700-2292. 1-800-700-2292.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-600-6316. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-600-6316. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-600-6316. 1-800-600-6316.
Do you use a CPAP device for sleep apnea? Are you tired of dragging your bulky in-home device everywhere you travel? Then you need to know about Transcend, the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It lets you sleep in total comfort anywhere you go. And right now, you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-500-5711. Transcend from minicpap.com is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can sleep comfortably even while flying. Transcend is our smallest, lightest, and most portable mini CPAP design ever, offering all the performance of a bulky standard in-home device. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day in-home trial. 1-800-500-5711. Again, that's 1-800-500-5711.
Do you have low back or neck pain? Does it run down your arms or your legs? Do you have bulging or herniated disc degeneration, or spinal arthritis? Even worse, have you been told you need back surgery or injections? If you answered yes, then please listen to what I have to say. My name is Dr. Chad Vines, DC, at Genesis Back and Neck, and I use the most advanced spinal decompression system available, the DRX 9000, to correct back problems just like yours. We don't use addictive drugs, and we don't use any type of dangerous invasive surgery for these problems. Spinal decompression is safe, FDA cleared, and it's not painful, and has about an 86% success rate. We accept most insurances, and your first visit will be at no charge. You will sit down and visit with me personally until I've answered all of your questions. And if you're a candidate for decompression, you can try out the treatment all at no charge to you. So if you're ready to not hurt anymore and don't want to have surgery, call me at 817-328-1922. That's 817-328-1922, or online at mylowback.com.
660 AM, The Answer. If it's important to you, we're talking about it right now on the Wells Report on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. Coming up in just a couple of seconds, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about an amazing Supreme Court decision. The Supreme Court found against the president and something called executive amnesty. What does that mean? We'll tell you as we continue into the night here on Thursday on 660 AM, The Answer, the 23rd day of June, year of our Lord, 2016. Joining us is Rick, and Rick is a guy who listens to the broadcast a lot. And by the way, Rick, thank you so much, and I sincerely appreciate the fact that you spend time of your day on this broadcast with us.
Well, like I say, 99% of the time I agree with you, buddy.
Yeah.
But here's my issue.
Now, wait a minute. Before you jump into it, Rick is talking about, in case you just joined us, Rick is talking about John Kirby. I have watched John Kirby now for several years, and I have seen a beacon of truth in an otherwise pretty dismal swamp of misdirection and misleading garbage and gobbledygooky crap and spin and all kinds of stuff. And Rick disagrees. He sees John Kirby as another part of that same swamp that I'm describing when it comes to getting public information out to the people from the Obama administration. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And it started when he was spokesperson at DOD, and it drove me nuts when he was there covering up. Not covering up, but double speaking what was actually going on in the military when I'd see him on TV. And it's gotten to the point, Jon-David, I've been listening to talk radio since Rush came national.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I've called talk shows like twice before I called you last night. But I'm getting irritated with conservative commentators like yourself when somebody like John Kirby, who is a tool of the Obama administration, trying to cover stuff up, and this goes far deeper than that. This goes to really the local conservative talk show hosts, and I have not heard you interview Pete Sessions, so I don't know. But when people around here on other stations, other talk shows, including Mark Davis, interview Pete Sessions, they give him a pass. And now, hold on.
Okay.
He doesn't deserve a pass. He is part of the Paul Ryan, John Boehner reason why Trump is the nominee problem.
Well, okay, let's take these things one at a time. We were talking about John Kirby. All right. So part of what I do here is I try to translate the lies and the cynicism and the crap and the garbage into something that you can use to make a decent decision with. Okay. And that process is, and I'm getting better at it actually. That process is about reducing to the basic reality of any given news story just the facts. It's hard. It was really, really tough, okay? Because you start to you start to read a news story and you take some things as facts that are not. Let me give you an example. This is the story I read at the top of the hour. We were talking about Clinton failing to hand over a key email that calls into question other emails that she should have turned over but didn't. Listen to this. Listen to the way this is put together. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton failed to turn over a copy of a key message involving problems caused by her use of a private homebrew email server, the State Department confirmed today. That is a fact. Okay? There's nothing, that is a fact. But listen to this. The disclosure makes it unclear what other work-related emails may have been deleted by the presumptive Democrat presidential nominee. That is not a fact. That is an assertion. Now, because I'm reading this from Fox News, right? I read the copy as written, but this gives me an opportunity to go back and get into some depth with you on it. So the first statement on this paragraph is a fact. The second paragraph is an assertion. Whose assertion is it? The person who wrote the copy. The email was included within messages in exchange November 13th, 2010 between Clinton and one of her closest aides, Deputy Chief of Staff Huma Abedin. Again, a fact. At the time, emails sent from Clinton's BlackBerry device and routed through her private ClintonEmail.com server in the basement of her New York home were being blocked by the State Department spam filter. Now, they were being blocked by the State Department security interface with the outside. That's not a spam filter. Okay, that is an example of Associated Press spin to try to make it less of a glaring error by Hillary Clinton. Okay, it's not a spam filter, right? They're not going to trust. They're not going to trust information coming from the outside to a frickin' spam filter put together by Microsoft. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that is the best state-of-the-art cybersecurity that can possibly be had to protect a classified email system from interacting with a non-classified email system, and it worked just fine. So in that particular case, we got a couple of facts here with this one glaring lie right in the middle of it. Now, how do I know that? Well, I do background. I know that it's not just a spam filter. I know what they're talking about when it comes to cybersecurity because all my friends are in the cybersecurity business. So when I go through a piece of news like this and I don't want to get into trouble, or when I'm talking about things with Pete Sessions or anybody else, I deal with facts. I don't deal with assertions. I don't deal with editorialization. I don't argue with Pete Sessions. I ask Pete a question. He gives me an answer. I ask him a question based on that answer. He gives me another answer. My job is to not prove that Pete Sessions is a liar. Now, in the case of John Kirby, getting back to that, John Kirby's job is to get the news out to the public. John Kirby, when he's in a position where he's got an explosive problem, like trying to explain what has been going on with Hillary Clinton's private email server, he knows for a fact that it was the wrong thing to do. He knows he has his own personal information on it. He knows all that. But his job is to put the facts out there, and that's what he does. When you see somebody like John Kirby giving you a news briefing, especially on a topic that is rife with politics, rife with cynicism, rife with just plain mistrust, suspicion, what have you, he is going to go to the facts, and only the facts. And if there aren't enough facts to satisfy the press corps, he's going to say, I don't have that information. I'll try to get it back to you. These are the facts we have. And he said that several times when he was explaining, this mess between what had been talked about with James Rosen in the State Department having to do with the Iran nuclear deal. Those guys were saying, are there bilateral talks going on outside of the 6-country talks that we've been hearing about? And Jen and what's her face, Victoria Nuland said, Victoria Nuland said, no, there are no. That was a lie. And Rosen caught her in that lie when Jen Psaki said, yes, there were talks, but sometimes you have to let diplomacy work, in private. Well, that was still a lie from Victoria Nuland. So, and then when all this got put together, it was John Kirby that explained it all. And he only explained the facts. He didn't get into the weeds with the politics of it, didn't get in the weeds as to whether it was a judgment call as to somebody who was lying, who wasn't lying, who should go to jail, who should not go to jail. He just reported the facts. That is what you need. You may want to have Pete Sessions in front of you and lambaste the guy, right? But that's not my job. My job is to give you the facts that you can draw your own conclusions from. You, after hearing those facts, may want to lambaste Pete Sessions. Okay, I got that. But that's not my job. My job is to bring you what Pete Sessions is saying. Also, by the way, he is in Republican leadership, and I have questioned him about some of the and the next time I talk to him, which should be in the next couple of days, right? I'm going to ask him, I'm going to say, Congressman, you had 17 candidates for president of the United States. Why does it seem like nobody was good enough for the Republican Party? Even Jeb Bush, even John Kasich. I mean, all these guys. Tell me about that. Now, that's not me arguing. And I'm not going to come back after he answers the question and say, well, but this and well, but that and well, but this and well, but that. I'm not going to get into a fight with Pete Sessions because what you need to know is what he wants you to know. You and I can talk about it when Pete is gone, and we can have our conversation. John, what did you really think about that? Glad you asked. Here we go. And Pete Sessions he knows me as a conservative. He knows I fired the Republican Party. He and I have talked at length about what happened between 2004 and 2006 when I blew the Republican Party off. I had no place to go. And what ended up happening is I think I contributed to the first election of President Obama, which is why when it came time for 2012, I was a different guy. I did not realize, I just didn't believe that President Obama was going to do the damaging things to the country he was going to do, Rick. I just didn't believe that he would do that. He would go that far. And so I had to scramble back to the reality, which is why all these people are saying, I want Ted Cruz to get the nomination. I want Ted Cruz. I'm sitting there going, look, go ahead and write in Ted Cruz. But what's going to end up happening is you're going to have Hillary Clinton as a president. You're going to watch the entire country go right down the tubes. So my mission in this with you, Rick, is to say, okay, these people are liars. Yes, lots of them are. But there are some that are not. My job is to differentiate between those two. You and I may disagree about John Kirby, but next time you have a chance, listen to John Kirby and what he's actually saying. He's talking about facts. He's not getting into the weeds. He's not getting into the politics. He's just giving the facts. And that's his job.
Good explanation.
It may not look. It may not change your mind, but I want you to think about it.
It doesn't change my mind about Kirby.
Yeah.
You have changed my mind about how the talk show hosts deal with Sessions.
Listen. I got to be honest with you, and not just Sessions, but a lot of people. Okay, you have to understand something here. The Wells Report is not a typical talk show. It is a news broadcast where we talk about the news. Okay. But in order to talk about the news, you got to have the news reported. You got to know what's going on in order to talk about it. Well, I'm not going to, anybody can stand up in a box and say that Pete Sessions is a damn liar and that Fox News needs to choke to death in its own excrement and all these other stupidly dumb things that people say. Well, that's not my job. My job is not to be the biggest idiot in the room. My job is to be the guy that hands you information when you need it, when you're about to make a decision. My job is to come up with that information so that you make a good decision instead of trying to guess your way through it.
Yeah, no, I get that. That helps me understand how talk show hosts around here deal with Pete Sessions.
See,
it really does.
Well, and like I said, it's not just Pete, but the thing about it is I don't, I don't listen to anybody else. I listen to Mark Davis. I listen to Mark Davis for the pure joy of it. Mark Davis is such a great broadcaster. He actually, there are a lot of guys that do play-by-play baseball, right? But Vin Scully, Eric Nadel, there are people that rise above the basic mantra of a sportscaster. Well, Mark Davis is so glib and he is such a great communicator and he's so smart. He is able to just weave this all together in this beautiful tapestry that shows up every day. I'm amazed at it. I marvel at it. But he and I do different things. He does more of a straight ahead talk show. I do more of a news broadcast. I'm interested in making sure you know what's going on so that you can make a better decision. I hope I get it right. You're listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer.
Do you know about Philip Haney? He's the former Homeland Security investigator who says that President Obama has handcuffed federal anti-jihad investigations. His new book, See Something, Say Nothing, is rocketing in the charts. He'll join Debbie Georgatos this week, along with Scott Ott, brilliant political pundit whose humor and satire make you laugh and think deeply. So tune in to Ladies Can We Talk this Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. on 660 AM The Answer, or online at ladiescanwetalk.org. On Ladies Can We Talk, they talk truth about America.
Hey there, this is Eric Metaxas. Lately, I've been telling you about Liberty University's online degree programs. Liberty University is the world's largest Christian university with over 95,000 students studying around the world through Liberty's online programs. While there are a lot of universities who've jumped into online education, few can deliver on the promise of a quality education with such flexibility, and even fewer can actually point to a graduate of their online program like my friend Morgan from Nashville.
I did it. I actually got my degree from Liberty University. 2 degrees, actually. Not only has this process taught me self-discipline, I've also learned that it is never too late to fulfill your dreams. And I did it all online. I did it, and you can too.
Pick up your cell phone now and dial pound 250 and say the keywords Liberty University. That's pound 250 and say the keywords Liberty University. Dial pound 250 and say the keywords Liberty University now. Flexible, affordable, possible. Liberty University online.
As a listener of the financial diva Victoria Woods on this station, you know that she only makes 2 statements about the market with absolute certainty. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. Volatility is part of investing, and if that's a roller coaster ride you're just not interested in taking anymore, it's time to consider protecting a minimum of 25% of your hard-earned retirement dollars. Call 888-838-DIVA today. If you're 10 to 15 years from retirement, there's no time to waste. On June 6th, the strategy that guarantees your principal and earns a guaranteed rate of 3.15% for the next 5 years became available, but this special opportunity ends June 24th. Call Chapelwood Financial at 888-838-DIVA to discover how to make it part of your retirement income plan. Some restrictions do apply, so call Chapelwood Financial to see if you qualify. Protection of a portion of your assets is the foundation of your retirement plan. Don't lose another minute of sleep worrying about the next market correction. Call Chapelwood Financial at 888-838-DIVA. That's 888-838-DIVA.
Do you use a CPAP device for sleep apnea? Are you tired of dragging your bulky in-home device everywhere you travel? Then you need to know about Transcend, the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It lets you sleep in total comfort anywhere you go. And right now, you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-500-5711. Transcend from minicpap.com is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can sleep comfortably even while flying. Transcend is our smallest, lightest, and most portable mini CPAP design ever, offering all the performance of a bulky standard in-home device. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day in-home trial. 1-800-500-5711. Again, that's 1-800-500-5711.
As a listener to this station, you've heard a variety of companies advertising their products and services, many of them for a number of years.
I'm Walt Parker with InvestingMakesMeSick.com. I've gotten absolutely great results. No matter who's advertising, it definitely pays off. Doesn't matter what business they're in. I think they'll find it's going to be very rewarding.
My name is John Duncan, and I'm the CEO and founder of Bioscan of Los Colinas. It's simply the most effective advertising that I can do. I've advertised for the last 14 years on television, radio, and newspaper, and advertising with 660 gets the best results.
Hi, I'm Marcia West, Senior Account Manager for 660 AM The Answer. For 20 years, I've worked with companies, both big and small, to create cost-effective radio campaigns that get results. Let me do the same for you. Contact me today at mwest@ksky.com. That's mwest@ksky.com. I want to help you grow your business.
If you're not getting cash back for shopping, you're missing out. Download Ibotta now. IBOTTA. It's the hottest app to earn cash on everyday purchases on groceries, apparel, electronics, restaurants, and more. Just unlock, shop, and get cash. Download Ibotta today, free from the App Store, and for a limited time, get $10 just for trying it. IBOTTA. For cash back every time you shop, you've gotta Ibotta.
660 AM The Answer. 660 AMTheAnswer.com. Now, by popular demand, The Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. No more contempt has ever been shown any Speaker of the House than what the ridiculous Democrats did the last day or so. That foolish, idiotic guns law sit-in was as embarrassing as the photograph I saw of it today, where someone had photoshopped babies' pacifiers into the mouths of all those sitting on the floor in the House chamber. It could not have been a more appropriate way of describing just exactly what had happened. It was complete and total gobbledygooky numbskullery. Okay? Those people could have passed a gun control law if they wanted to, but they'd rather play politics. You need to know these things. You need to know why things are done and things aren't done. The Democrats don't want to pass a gun control law because that's going to be wrapped around Hillary's neck in the presidential election of 2016. Okay? They don't want to do that. But what they want to do is they want to do their dead level best to try to make the Republicans look like evil men who would allow some supposedly upset gay guy to go out and kill other gay guys and women and so on. It's like, okay, so is that really a narrative you think you can make political points with? If so, maybe you ought to reconsider your career, because those aren't political points. Those are just self-inflicted wounds. You're listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer.
20 plus years of unemployment. That's what retirement is, or should be. But imagine still working when you're 75 because you didn't have an exit plan for the next stock market crash. If you think your current plan has too much risk, or you're tired of paying hidden fees, listen to Plain Talk No Worries with Rick Foster and Kevin Christ, Saturdays at 4 p.m. Rick and Kevin will tell you the truth about the financial world we live in. No one knows when the next correction will be. So listen to Plain Talk No Worries with Rick Foster and Kevin Christ, Saturdays at 4 p.m. on 660 AM The Answer.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. What if you could store your IRA or 401k where you can see, touch, and hold it in person in the form of physical gold and silver coins? I know I would, and you can't do that with stocks. With the Augusta Gold and Silver IRA, you can transfer retirement savings into physical coins, store them where you can actually see them. Free shipping, zero management fees, and Augusta pays all upfront costs. Getting started is absolutely free. Rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau, enjoys a 98% 5-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call toll-free 1-855-222-5882 now for your free guide to Augusta Gold IRAs. Call toll-free 1-855-222-5882. That's 1-855-222-5882. Or visit AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
Think you're fat? You might just be bloated. Find out by calling now for a free trial of New Biotics, the new breakthrough that
Hey, when you get a
flattens
break,
bloated
I need to
bellies
talk
fast.
to you.
For a free trial, call 1-800-300-3961. Strict limit of 1 per household.
I used to be plagued by pot belly and constant bloating. After taking New Biotics, my belly flattened and continues to get flatter. My sense of bloating and discomfort is gone.
If you've got a big belly, you might not be fat. You might just be bloated. New Biotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. If your belly flattening results are too dramatic, simply reduce use to every other day. Think you might be bloated? See how much flatter New Biotics makes your belly. But hurry, call now for details while we're still giving it away for free. 1-800-300-3961. That's 1-800-300-3961. 1-800-300-3961.
660 AM The Answer.
KSKY Balch Springs, Dallas, Fort Worth.
The official radio station of Decision 2016. The most important election of our lifetime.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lisa Luciano. Early results in Great Britain showing strong support for the campaign to stay in the European Union.
Angela Merkel, the chancellor here in Germany, said, quote, "Of course, we hope for a decision in which the citizens of Great Britain remain part of the European Union." Merkel held a press conference with the Austrian chancellor who's visiting Berlin.
Adam Shapiro with the Fox Business Network. Former Labor Party leader Ed Miliband telling Sky News the vote will be very close.
Today's decision is frustrating to those who seek to grow our economy and bring a rationality to our immigration system.
President Obama, after the Supreme Court tied blocking his immigration plan, which would have shielded millions of immigrants from deportation and allowed them to work in the U.S. legally. House Speaker Paul Ryan calling the split decision a win for the Constitution and a win for Congress. Fox News, we report, you decide.
You're listening to 660 AM The Answer. How will the future affect the money decisions you make now? Find out Saturday morning with Jerry Tuma and John Criswell on Smart Money. Smart Money will bring you the latest information regarding financial markets and what it means to you and your investment and retirement portfolio. Not knowing could be costly. Smart Money, a voice of experience and integrity, with Jerry Tuma and John Criswell. Saturday mornings at 8 on 660 AM. The Answer.
I used to love wearing dresses and shorts. Then I started getting spider veins, and even worse, those embarrassing, bulging, varicose veins. For a while, I covered up my legs. But then I discovered Vein Clinics of America.
Vein Clinics of America is the oldest, largest, most experienced vein treatment center in the U.S. And for 35 years, they've been the leading expert in the treatment of vein disease. Using state-of-the-art laser and minimally invasive treatments, they can begin restoring the natural beauty of your legs in as little as an hour with no downtime, and most treatments are covered by your insurance.
My legs look great and feel great. I even love wearing summer dresses and shorts again.
Make sure your legs look and feel their best for summer. Call now and schedule a free fast-track consultation to find out how you can finally get rid of those embarrassing varicose and spider veins. Space is limited, so call 800-375-4806. That's 800-375-4806. 800-375-4806.
Hey, it's Mark Davis for my friends at Good Feet. One of the reasons it's such a joy to hang out with these folks is they have such great stories of helping people who have tried other things that did not work. And getting out of foot pain is a thing of joy to behold. Ask them at Plano, Fort Worth, and Southlake, the 3 locations of Good Feet, or go to goodfeetdfw.com. Listen, as one of the good folks at Good Feet talks about what it's like to help people, to watch them come in for a solution that actually works.
For most of the people that walk in our store, it's been an ongoing, nonstop issue. They're searching, they're grasping at straws because they've been trying other products and they've bought something that they thought was going to help solve their problem, and it didn't.
The good people of Good Feet with solutions that are real, not the plasticky gel, one-size-fits-most nonsense. Nope, but the sizes, the styles for men, for women. Get out of pain today. That foot pain can become back pain, hip pain, leg pain. GoodFeetDFW.com, Plano, Fort Worth, or Southlake. GoodFeetDFW.com. Check them out today.
Heather, my friend, you look awesome. How do you feel?
Man, Dr. Jimmy, I feel great. I've lost weight, and it's all thanks to Fat Loss DFW. I gotta say this has been the easiest way I've lost weight in my entire life. I used to struggle, and I was always hungry, but not with Fat Loss DFW.
Heather, I hear this all the time, and we understand that challenge at Fat Loss DFW. I mean, come on. How on earth are you going to stick with a plan if you feel miserable?
And with Fat Loss DFW, I don't. And sometimes I even forget that I'm on a plan because I'm eating foods that I love all the time and I'm losing the fat.
You're down how many pounds, Heather?
I'm down 36 pounds.
Oh, that's awesome to hear, Heather. And we're hearing it every single day from more people in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Listen to me. The Nutrimost system at Fat Loss DFW works. Pick up the phone right now. Dial 844-801-THIN. That's 844-801-THIN, or go to the web and look up fatlossdfw.com.
Did you know a dirty CPAP system can make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, you might not sleep so well. But now, SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It kills 99.9% of all CPAP germs, and it's completely hands-free. For a limited time, you can try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-400-5241.
SoClean changed the CPAP experience for the better. My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean destroys CPAP bacteria, viruses, and germs, and it eliminates the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. There's no water, chemicals, or disassembly. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Call SoClean.com to try it risk-free at home for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer, only available by calling 1-800-400-5241. That's 1-800-400-5241.
Hey, it's Mark Davis for my friends at Compassion Roofing and Remodeling. I've spent some time telling you these are the folks to call if you ever have storm damage to the roof or anywhere else in the house. But Compassion Roofing and Remodeling also wants to be your choice for any projects you've been dreaming of around the home. Here's owner and president Corey McLaughlin.
If someone's going to live in a house for a long time, it's important that they get what they want instead of living with what they have. So we use only the best and highest quality skilled labor and materials, and there's really not much that we can't handle. I used to build custom houses for a living, and from the ground up, we can help them.
The skill they bring to making your home right after storm damage is the same skill they bring to any project you may ever want. They have the best quality, the best workmanship. Everybody needs a little compassion. Call my friends at Compassion Roofing, 855-ROOF-107. That's 855-ROOF-107. CompassionRoofing.com. When you need the job done right, CompassionRoofing.com.
660 AM, The Answer. Is anybody out there paying attention to what's going on in this country, in this state, and in this city? we know one man who is. You got questions? He's got answers. This is the Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. I don't want to bore you, but I want to read a news article from the, I guess it was February 18th, 2015. This was when Ash Carter became the new Secretary of Defense. When Ash Carter showed up, he wanted to make a change in the way the Department of Defense was communicating with the people. He wanted to get rid of then Rear Admiral John Kirby. Because he was in military uniform. This story by Philip Ewing pretty much tells the story of Kirby and where he is and why he's there. Okay, so listen, just indulge me in this if you don't mind. Rear Admiral John Kirby, who became a highly visible face for the Defense Department as it launched the war in Iraq and Syria, is stepping down to make room for a new civilian press secretary. Kirby acknowledged his departure in a briefing for reporters on Wednesday, a day after Defense Secretary Ash Carter took an oath of office to become President Obama's fourth Pentagon chief. Carter wants to revisit the role of press secretary, so he plans to name a civilian to take over for the two-star admiral who served as the Pentagon's first uniformed top spokesman. One of the questions I think he wants to rhetorically ask or consider is not just who the individual is, but what that individual represents, whether it's appropriate or not to have a uniform up here. That's what John Kirby said. Those are fair questions for him to ask as he comes into the job of Secretary of Defense. Kirby was asked whether he ever felt constrained because as a uniformed service member, he's less free to criticize members of Congress or political leaders. He said, no, that hasn't been a big issue for me. And the reason is because your job is to not criticize members of Congress or political leaders. Your job is to inform people what's going on using facts. Kirby's long service in the Pentagon, previously as the Navy's Chief of Public Affairs and earlier as the top spokesman for then Joint Chiefs Chairman Admiral Mike Mullen, means he has long-standing relationships with many members of the Pentagon Press Corps. He's been a fixture on cable TV news networks, and reporters applauded on Wednesday after the Associated Press correspondent Lolita Baldor and CNN reporter Barbara Starr hailed Kirby for his depth of knowledge about the U.S. military. Kirby and Carter, Ash Carter, again, the new Secretary of Defense, not known to have clashed, but apparently they don't have a close relationship. New Secretaries of Defense typically name their own new top spokesman when they arrive. For instance, Kirby's predecessor, George Little, accompanied Leon Panetta when he came to the Pentagon from CIA. Although Carter has not yet decided on a new press secretary, he's beginning to fill in other key roles. Air Force Undersecretary Eric Fanning is set to become his chief of staff. Army Major General Ron Lewis is expected to become his top military advisor. Kirby's next moves are unclear. The two-star public affairs officer is a rare breed. And as the first uniformed Pentagon press secretary, there's no precedent for him to follow. He began his naval career as a surface warfare officer, but like many officers in the Navy, reached a point where he wanted to stay in the service but not go back to sea. So during a stint as an instructor in the Naval Academy, Kirby and a colleague took a marker, drew several slices of pie on a paper plate, put job titles in each one of the slices, then pinned on a wooden tongue depressor from the sick bay and spun it. He wound up with public affairs, although he ended up going back to sea as the final shipboard spokesman for the aircraft carrier USS Forrestal. Once I got into the community, I made every effort to learn the craft and become proficient, said Kirby. But becoming a PAO was the best decision I actually never made. Yeah. So John Kirby is the real deal. And remember, when you are in a sea of vapid liars, I get a sense of relief when John Kirby's at the podium, because I know I don't have to be on guard for the next hunk of lying garbage that's going to be foisted at me from the Obama administration. There's a lot of people that wonder, they say, well, he's just a biased right-wing talk show host. You have no idea. You have no idea the lengths I go to be fair to these anti-American leftist Democrat thugs. It took me a long time to get to the point where I would say that they are leftist, progressive, Democrat, anti-American thugs. But you know what? That's what they are. It's not because I disagree with them politically. It's because they're leftist, anti-American, progressive Democrat thugs. I don't have anything to do with them. They are without doubt our domestic enemy. As we seek to defend this nation and its constitution from all enemies, foreign or domestic, these are the domestic ones. And this is the role they want. They're proud of it. They're happy to be in that role. So be it. I'm happy to expose them as the anti-American thugs they are. There is no precedent in history. Many people have said, well, these leftist progressives, they're very much like the Bolsheviks. No, they're not like the Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks started with a dysfunctional country run by an incompetent ruling class. Leftist progressives in the United States of America are starting with the greatest country God ever gave man. They fancy themselves to be the equals of the framers of this fine country, but they don't have a clue. Not one thin, trembling clue as to what those guys were thinking and what those guys wanted to do. And I can reduce it down to a simple fact. You take the best thinkers, the most powerful men in the entire country at the time that they were there, and all they put down on paper was a superb description of their humility. You take these leftist snots, these leftist progressive snots that we deal with, and all they can put down on paper is what's wrong with everyone else. That's it. That's all they have. They're not interested in trying to make America better. They're interested in hurting it. They fancy themselves as people who are able, because they are so far advanced than the rest of us, they're able to see the holes in what is, without doubt, the greatest country ever on earth. I mean, it's like they look at America and they say, nah, it could be better. Make no mistake. It's the greatest country on the planet, but we're just not nice enough to these small little countries. We need to be more like little countries. We need to be more like Norway. Yeah, yeah. They're putting little bitty knots of yarn on top of stocking caps in Norway. We're putting people on the moon. At least we did 40, 50 years ago. But these people have had their own way. These leftist, crazy, nutty, dumb butts. They've had their way. What have we accomplished? What have we accomplished? We could do so much more. But we're so busy worrying about whether or not the government's going to be there to dole out money when we get there. The answer is no, they're not. They're not going to be there for us. The Democrat idea of Social Security was a swindle then. It's a swindle now. If you're depending on that swindle, it's too late. These people who say we can spend money, we can spend money, we can spend money, and then eviscerate the country that makes the money worth something cannot possibly be that incompetent by accident. No, these people are trying to take the country down, and they are one election away from putting the right person in place to do it. You got to know the players. You got to know the Americans. You got to know the anti-Americans. You pay very close attention. You pay very close attention. Give you another great example. Let's take a look at the Texas 26th Congressional District, my district. Michael Burgess is my congressman, a superb individual that I have come to admire as a true American congressman. Very good at what he does. And let's look at Eddie Bernice Johnson of the Texas 30th. In the 26th, prosperity, happiness, good schools, so on and so on. In the 30th, not so much. Why? Because Eddie Bernice Johnson isn't doing her job. That's why. Stephen Broden took a good charge at making a run at the Texas 30th and was crushed. Absolutely crushed. Not just by the sheer weight of numbers of Eddie Bernice Johnson being in the seat forever. He was crushed by the here in town. They could look at the Texas 30th and see nothing worth changing. Can you look at the Texas 30th and see anything worth changing? The status quo ante is not sufficient. Bankrupting the nation so you can't do something with the Texas 30th is not governance. Empowering the American people through whatever course is necessary or possible, even something so simple as feeling exceptional. And if you're exceptional, maybe you deserve to live a better life. And maybe if you deserve to live a better life, you'll get somebody to help you that can actually do it instead of NED will do. This is the Wells Report.
This is Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, and I'd like to invite you to join me for our talk show every Sunday morning. We're actually trying to convert the world to organics. We talk about the natural organic program for farming, ranching, gardening, and pest control. Also, a lot of talk about health issues for animals and people. Hope you can join us for all the fun.
Make sure to tune in to Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, every Sunday morning from 8 to 11 a.m. right here on 660 a.m. The Answer. Now you can hear the Joy of a Rich Retirement radio show at its new time, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Listen to Dr. W. Neil Gallagher and Matthew Gallagher as they explain how you can have a worry-free retirement. They'll also help you make sense of today's financial headlines. Planning for your retirement is not an option. Get the advice you need to achieve financial success in these uncertain times. Listen to the Joy of a Rich Retirement at its new time this Saturday at 1 p.m. on 660 a.m. The Answer.
Why is a prominent Beverly Hills plastic surgeon talking some of his patients out of facelifts? The embarrassment of loose, sagging skin is what brings them to Dr. John Lakey's office, eager to schedule facelifts. But he cautions that it's a big decision.
Look, facelifts deliver incredible results. Nothing else even comes close. But it is surgery, and it isn't for everyone.
For those who don't want invasive surgery, he now has an alternate solution he believes in: Lift and Firm Sculpting Treatment, the new powerhouse formula from Beverly Hills MD Skincare.
What we're looking at here is cutting-edge technology. My own patients, my own family members, we've had amazing results with it.
Lift and Firm can help take years, even decades, off your appearance. It's that revolutionary, and it's backed by the experts at Beverly Hills MD Skincare. And today you can try it risk-free, because if you can avoid surgery and still look decades younger, why wouldn't you? Call 800-835-0957, 800-835-0957, or go to lift17.com now. That's 800-835-0957 or lift17.com. Lift17.com.
You can buy your next gun anywhere, but there's nowhere like the Texas Gun Pros. There are gun shows, big box stores, and even the occasional eccentric dealer. But there is no one like the Texas Gun Pros. Texas Gun Pros are truly your pros for all your gun needs, bringing you big store selection with a local family experience. There truly is no one like Texas Gun Pros. What else makes the Texas Gun Pros stand out from the rest? An online catalog with hundreds of guns, guaranteed to have the one you're looking for. Texas Gun Pros is the only place in North Texas that can give you the gun you want for the price you can afford. Don't miss out on the amazing selection and friendly staff at Texas Gun Pros. Stop by the station or visit them on the web at texasgunpros.com. That's texasgunpros.com. texasgunpros.com. And see how it feels to be a member of the Texas Gun Pros family.
Welcome back, Summer. It's a hot one. This is Nolan Ryan. Go with the pros who know how to beat Texas heat. American Standard Air. Born and bred in the Lone Star State. That's American Standard. Comfort the way you like it. AmericanStandardAir.com.
That's right, Nolan. And your trusted independent American Standard dealer is Mathis Air and Heat. Why is that? Mathis Air has been serving you and your neighbors for over 20 years. They offer 24-hour emergency service and 100% financing for 60 months and 0% interest on a new system with approved credit. So make the call today for your free in-home estimate or $49 tune-up at 972-279-4COOL. That's 972-279-4COOL. Or go to mathisair.com. That's mathisair.com. Get 0% APR for 60 months with a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call 1-888-534-6894 for details about credit costs and terms. For new accounts, the APR for purchase is 28.99%, subject to credit approval.
Be a part of history. Come spend an evening with the artist that has inspired, encouraged, and shaped your faith for over 30 years. Sandy Patty's Forever Grateful, the Farewell Tour, 7 p.m. Sunday night, October 30th. Gateway Church. Tickets available now for your last chance to see Sandy Patty on tour at premierproductions.com. Don't wait, this concert is selling fast. Produced by Fill the Gap Concerts.
It's been called the greatest libertarian show on earth, attended by Donald Trump, Steve Forbes, Glenn Beck, and the most brilliant conservative minds today. It's Freedom Fest, July 13th through the 16th at the Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas. This year, come hear Senator Rand Paul, author George Gilder, Judge Andrew Napolitano, and more. And don't miss your chance to win $25,000 in prizes organized by Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington. Register now at freedomfest.com and save $100 by using the code SALEM, all caps, at freedomfest.com.
660 AM, The Answer. 660 AM, TheAnswer.com. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. So you sit there and you listen to this broadcast and you say, okay, so what's he doing? You know, what's this all about? What's this half hour mean to me? Well, what this means is that I am trying to get across a message. That there are people that are out there that honestly, no matter what administration they work in, there are people that are out there that are doing their dead level best to be great Americans. In the case of the Obama administration, these people are submerged. They are submerged in what is clearly And it's clearly a "we hate America" overtone that deals with everything the Obama administration does. It's either that or they're just from different planets and they have no idea what they're doing and they're complete idiots and they're totally and completely incompetent. President Obama, when he was a senator, points at Walter Reed Army Hospital and says this is a horrifyingly terrible place for people to go and die, and embarrasses the Bush administration. And then as soon as he's the president, he rams through Obamacare so that all of us can have medical care like that. We used to have health insurance in this nation. Now it's so expensive you can't use it. Everybody says, yeah, my premiums went up like $200 a month. No, they didn't go up $200 a month because you forgot to figure in that $6,500 deductible. You're paying for nothing. Absolutely nothing. But what if? That's not the point. The point is that they, just like every insurance company that's ever been in business, is gambling that you're going to pay for nothing. And in the case of Obamacare, they'll fine you if you don't pay for nothing, which should be the first clue that you're making a mistake. But with that all being said, the medical care that comes out of a system like that is the Veterans Administration hospital system. Their own inspector general said that system killed 307,000 veterans waiting for care. And they want to give that to all of us? Really? So either you have to believe that President Obama has no idea what's happening with the VA, even though it's the biggest scandal that has ever befallen any president that is not reported because the mainstream media is taking care of one of their own. Or you have to believe that he wants to take America to that diminished level of existence. And I believe it. I am ready to believe the president that his hope and change is that he hopes he can change the United States of America into a struggling pseudo-socialist nation where everybody is everybody, and no one would ever think to board one of those aircraft carriers and go out and tell somebody in some other country what not to do. There are people like John Kirby in that administration who are simply trying to make sure that you know what's actually going on. When I notice somebody like that, not only do I explain that he's there, but I explain why it's such a rare bird to have him there. And that's what this half hour has been about on the Wells Report on 660 AM The Answer.
Hey, it's Mark Davis for my friends at Abacus Foundation Repair. You and I both know that the warmer, wetter seasons in Texas can give us real foundation problems. Wet spells, dry spells. Let me put you in touch with Abacus Foundation Repair if you even think you've got any kind of foundation problem. This is what I did. I called them. You'll be glad you did too at 972-406-9000. Call the right people first. Abacus Foundation Repair, 972-406-9000. Why are they the right people to call if you got cracks in the walls or sheetrock or doors that are sticking or any kind of suspicion? Because they're going to map your house with the skill of an engineer. Look for possible causes like a plumbing issue so the problem doesn't come back. When they're done, you get a lifetime warranty. You can transfer free and clear to any new owner. It adds to your home's value. North Texas homeowners trust Abacus Foundation Repair, so give them a call, 972-406-9000, Abacus, ABACUS, abacusfoundationrepair.com. You'll be glad you called, so call 972-406-9000 or abacusfoundationrepair.com.
John Truitt, CEO of Simple Sleep Services here. You've probably heard Mark Davis talk about sleep apnea and snoring. If you're ready to stop snoring and treat your sleep apnea, you have options. Wear a big, bulky CPAP mask, have surgery, and deal with the recovery and downtime. or go with the Simple solution. The Simple Sleep system from Simple Sleep Services is a compact, comfortable, custom-fit solution that's proven to stop snoring and treat your sleep apnea. It's covered by most medical insurance. No mood-killing mask, no pain or downtime, just a better night's sleep for you and the one next to you. Stop dreaming about a better night's sleep. Learn more at simplesleepservices.com or call 469-685-1700. That's 469-685-1700 or click simplesleepservices.com. The choice is simple. Go to simplesleepservices.com. Offices conveniently located in both Dallas and Fort Worth. Stop snoring, sleep healthy, live life.
Hey, it's Mark Davis. I'll bet you've heard a lot about the money you can save leasing a car versus buying. Well, now there's a way to save even more. Brass Hat Leasing. In car lingo, a brass hat vehicle is a program car, factory demo, extremely low miles, very near showroom condition. But since it can't be titled as new, you save a bunch. Go to brasshatleasing.com. Shop through the inventory, see and drive the car you want at their location near DFW Airport, or just order and take delivery. Brass Hat Leasing, with a wide selection of makes and models, featuring leases and even sales, if you like, of these next new vehicles, giving you a huge savings opportunity. In fact, here's the Brass Hat Leasing deal of the day.
It's a 36-month lease on a 2016 Ram Crew Cab half-ton 4x4 Outdoorsman Edition. 0 down, sign and drive, includes TT&L. Original MSRP $50,590. You get it for only $469 a month.
So close to new, yet so much more affordable. BrassHatLeasing.com. 855-998-2202. 855-998-2202 or BrassHatLeasing.com.
Chances are you've had a tax problem or know someone who has or will have one. Bad taxes can happen to good people. Tax Defense Partners has been in the industry for almost 20 years. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, don't wait. Call 800-684-7777 now. Waiting can risk wage garnishing, compounding fees, interest, and more. Don't fight the IRS alone. Call Tax Defense Partners at 800-684-7777.
Hi, can I have 2 steak tacos?
Flour or corn?
Oh, no tortillas and no steak. Also add turkey, lettuce, and tomato. And just put it between 2 slices of bread.
You know this is a taco truck, right?
As a small business owner, you've got enough to deal with. Let the experts at Progressive insure your business so you can focus on whatever that was. With over 30 commercial, auto, and business coverage options, we'll build a plan that's right for you.
Oh, I'll have Swiss on that too. Thank you.
Visit progressivecommercial.com to get started. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
In the College of Southwestern, you will be equipped to study God's Word and take the life-changing message of Jesus Christ to your neighbors and to the nations. Study theology, music, the history of ideas, or missions under professors who not only know your name, but pray for you by name. And tuition in the college at Southwestern is as low as 75% less than other Christian colleges and universities. For more information, visit college.swbts.edu and stop by our booth at Celebrate Freedom to learn how Southwestern can equip you to preach the word and reach the world.
One of the dangers when you're retired or retiring soon is to let your guard down, especially when the stock market goes up.
This is Ken Moraith, host of the Money Matters radio show, inviting you to our free seminar.
If you can't afford to lose 30 to 50% in a crash, protect yourself now. Don't miss the free Money Matters seminar, 10 a.m. Saturday in the Money Matters building in Plano, or 1 p.m. Hilton, Arlington. Register at moneymatters.net. That's moneymatters.net, or call 800-994-0302. Again, 800-994-0302.
Learn a little something at the start of your day. The Mark Davis Show. Mornings 7 to 10 on 660 AM. The Answer. If it's important to you, it's on the Wells Report on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. While we are talking about our nation and how to survive the next few months of the Obama administration, the British voters are determining whether or not they're going to leave the Eurozone and leave the European Union. With more than half the districts reporting, so far, leave is winning. Let me see what the very latest numbers are. Okay. It's 51.76% over 48.24%. That's with 289 of 382 voting areas reporting. What does this mean in real terms for Britain? Well, nothing good. The pound has already dropped 11% against the U.S. dollar. as 60% of the vote is counted in the UK's historic referendum on whether to leave the European Union. They're going to regret this. This is another spectacularly poor decision being made by the voters of Great Britain. They're making mistakes, and I don't know why. But there you go. So that may be the headline that you read tomorrow when you wake up with Mark Davis. You may find out, hey, the European Union is starting to come apart, which is bad. Now, there will be people who say, you've got to buy gold because if the Eurozone goes down, the dollar's going to be next. Took me a long time to learn how to put that part on there. You know, the last part. That's right, your dollar's going to be worth nothing. Please. You see, if they don't invest in the euro or don't invest in the British pound, they're going to invest in the dollar. Yeah. Uh-huh. And all those people are going to be looking for a safe harbor for their money, and that'll be the United States. Yeah. So stop worrying so much. Anyway. I don't know whether you noticed or not, but the Supreme Court voted 4-4 to not either approve or deny the president's executive amnesty plan. This leaves in place a lower court ruling, which was very, very good for everyone, including illegal immigrants who live in the United States. Believe it or not, this is a good thing for you. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said today's ruling was a clear win. As the president himself said, he's not a king who can unilaterally change and write immigration law. Today's ruling is also a victory for all law-abiding Americans, including the millions of immigrants who have come to this country following the rule of law. Yep. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick agreed, said his personal efforts won't stop. I will continue to lead the effort to secure the Texas border. He reminded Texans that the Senate last year led the effort to boost border security funding to $800 million. In Texas, we're taking the right steps to protect our citizens. Next session, border security will continue to be a top priority for me. So you're saying, well, now wait a minute. What are those headlines? Supreme Court sets stage for splitting up of families. Ah! Douglas Interiano, CEO and founder of Proyecto Immigrante in North Texas, estimates between 200,000 and 300,000 people in North Texas were eligible for two programs outlined by President Obama, as it turns out illegally, in November of 2014. The order would have expanded DACA, deferred action for childhood arrivals, by removing the age limit, which was 30, and permitting applications from those who have lived in the U.S. since 2010. It also made work permits expire in 3 years instead of 2. Also, under another order, DAPA, deferred action for parents of Americans and lawful permanent residents, that would have protected 4.1 million unauthorized immigrants nationwide. It would have allowed them to apply for work permits, provided they were parents of U.S.-born children or legal permanent residents, passed a background check, and paid fines. Fort Worth immigrant advocate Gloria Gonzalez Garcia, Triple G, said the community is devastated. Millions of families will be gravely affected. Families, if given the opportunity, could prove to the government their self-sufficiency and add to the country's economy. Well, then you need to start adding to the country's economy. Because right now what you're doing is you're taking jobs from a lot of people that live here. That's not adding to the economy. That's shifting economic power away from American citizens and into the hands of illegal immigrants. That is not showing anybody anything except a disregard for your fellow Americans. If you fancy yourself Americans, seems to me that if you fancied yourself Americans when you were at some sort of rally trying to figure out some way of keeping the illegality going in your lives, you'd be waving an American flag, not a Mexican one. Maybe you should think that over. It's very devastating that our leadership falls short of representing U.S. citizens petitioning for their loved ones. Disgraceful. Well, your loved ones were brought here by you breaking the law. Breaking the law has serious implications. Sometimes it really screws up your kids. May I suggest Rosetta Stone Spanish? Interiano said the plan was aimed at keeping law-abiding immigrant families together and bringing people out of the shadows. The programs would help many families that describe themselves as mixed status because members include U.S.-born holders of green cards and others with no legal status. If you're here with no legal status, you are here illegally. Interiano said one of the biggest requirements is that people show good moral character, so it's focused on people who aren't criminals. These were very good programs. Well, yeah, they were very good programs, except for one small little problem. With those very good programs came, as we found out yesterday, almost 10 times more crime, rapes, kidnappings, robberies, assaults, drunken driving, good old-fashioned homicides, 10 times more than the Obama administration was willing to admit. We found out that they were lying about that too. Until we decide that American citizenship actually means something, that you are here means those criminals are here. The rapists and murderers that Trump was talking about. No, you're not those people. But because the door is open, thanks to you, those people get in as well. Are you responsible for their criminal behavior? No, not at all. You're not. You are responsible for your own criminal behavior. And the fact that you're being coddled by anti-American leftist progressive thugs, that means that you're taking part in hurting America and Americans. I'm getting tired of reading stories about men who destroy American women that should have been either in jail the whole time or deported out of this country the whole time. Tired of those stories. Found another one today. So don't give me the idea that because you have a great family and good moral character and so on and so forth, that you don't have anything to do with all those guys that drive around with no license, drunk as they could possibly be, and killing Americans. Because you do. The door opens not just for you, but it opens up for all the evildoers. The Dallas Morning News reported it like this. Elia Rosas, Grecia Martinez spent this morning consoling each other after the U.S. Supreme Court took no action on their long struggle to gain legal immigration status. Rosas, a 47-year-old Dallas resident, brought Martinez to Texas as an infant from Mexico in pursuit of a better life. But after the court's 4-4 vote rejecting President Barack Obama's initiative to legalize hundreds of thousands of immigrants, mother and daughter will have to wait on that happy ending. When there are difficulties, this is when our character and strength come out. Maybe what you should have done is you should have put some money aside for an immigration attorney to try to do this correctly. Maybe that's something you should have done. Maybe you should have respected the law of America and understand that it's the rules that make the game. Lousy rules, lousy country. Great rules, great country. Which do you think America is? On the other end of the call, the voice of the 27-year-old daughter who was in Washington for the decision sound muffled. Then came sobs. Don't cry, mija. Her other daughter, Garcia Martinez, a U.S. citizen, vowed to vote and bring others to the polls so that politicians would be elected who could craft legislation that would benefit immigrants who have been in the U.S. unlawfully for years or decades. The only thing that can be done for those people who have been in the United States unlawfully for years or decades is they can be forgiven for their crimes and invited to leave the country. And that is all the generosity anyone could ever possibly expect or should expect. And oh, by the way, Ms. Garcia, while you're trying to find people that will vote for politicians that will break American law right along with you or your family, you have become one of those leftist, progressive, anti-American Democrat thugs I've been talking about. Because you're voting for a weakening of American law. You're saying American law can't be changed, Mr. Wells? No, not at all. That's not what I'm saying. You can change American law. I'm saying by all means, if you are going to ignore the law, then by all means repeal it. But don't not repeal it and not enforce it, because that violates your oath of office. It violates the oath of office of the people you're voting for. You are voting for, thus, criminals that will act in contravention of American law in an effort to provide you with a chance of operating in contravention of American law. You know what that's called? That's called corruption. Yes, you get to live here. Yes, we're friendly. Yes, we smile. Yes, we think you're cute and wonderful, and so on and so forth. We don't have any quarrel with you, but you're breaking the law. Part of being an American is doing the right thing. And once again, I don't have any problem with people trying to be American as best they possibly can. I don't have any problem with that at all. But when you sit here and say that we should have an opportunity to be in the United States of America illegally, when you say that that is the way it should be, and then to prove your point, you come out for a public, some kind of public, some sort of public demonstration, and you wave Mexican flags, you need to go home. So here's what's going on. It appears as though Sky News has called the election. United Kingdom votes to leave the European Union. This may indeed have a problem, may have effects in the United Kingdom, because Scotland wants to stay in the European Union. The next thing that will happen is that Scotland will vote to break away from Great Britain, become its own country, and join the European Union. Interesting. This is a very big piece of news. Big piece of news. And so, the Brexit, as it's been called, British exit from the European Union, is a fait accompli. This, according to Sky News, finally got to the point where they could call that decision. A bad decision on the part of England. It's going to have a huge impact on how those people live. I wonder if it will be good or bad. But as we say, in the words of the Zen master, we'll see. This is the Wells Report.
20 plus years of unemployment. That's what retirement is, or should be. But imagine still working when you're 75 because you didn't have an exit plan for the next stock market crash. If you think your current plan has too much risk, or you're tired of paying hidden fees, listen to Plain Talk No Worries with Rick Foster and Kevin Christ, Saturdays at 4 p.m. Rick and Kevin will tell you the truth about the financial world we live in. No one knows when the next correction will be. So listen to Plain Talk No Worries with Rick Foster and Kevin Christ, Saturdays at 4 p.m. on 660 a.m. The Answer.
This is Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor. Doctor, and I'd like to invite you to join me for our talk show every Sunday morning. We're actually trying to convert the world to organics. We talk about the natural organic program for farming, ranching, gardening, and pest control. Also, a lot of talk about health issues for animals and people. Hope you can join us for all the fun.
Make sure to tune in to Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, every Sunday morning from 8 to 11 a.m. right here on 660 a.m. The Answer.
I used to love wearing dresses and shorts. Then I started getting spider veins, and even worse, those embarrassing, bulging, varicose veins. For a while, I covered up my legs, but then I discovered Vein Clinics of America.
Vein Clinics of America is the oldest, largest, most experienced vein treatment center in the U.S. And for 35 years, they've been the leading expert in the treatment of vein disease. Using state-of-the-art laser and minimally invasive treatments, they can begin restoring the natural beauty of your legs in as little as an hour with no downtime, and most treatments are covered by your insurance.
My legs look great and feel great. I even love wearing summer dresses and shorts again.
Make sure your legs look and feel their best for summer. Call now and schedule a free fast-track consultation to find out how you can finally get rid of those embarrassing varicose and spider veins. Space is limited, so call 800-375-4806. That's 800-375-4806. 800-375-4806.
Are you ready for the vacation of a lifetime? Then get on board for the Storyteller Cruise with 660 AM, The Answer. Join us October 23rd through the 30th with Matthew West. Along with pastor and Bible teacher Greg Laurie.
The highest calling of God is what God has called you to be. There is no higher thing. We're all called to do something.
Selah. Mr. Talkbox, and more. You and your family will travel aboard Holland America's New Amsterdam as we travel to Grand Turks, San Juan, St. Martin, and more. Best of all, enjoy music and inspiration from Matthew West and Pastor Greg Laurie. Space is very limited. Get details now at 660amtheanswer.com. We'll see you on the Storyteller Cruise from 660 AM, The Answer.
If you're a Christian and own or lead a business, you are in a unique position. You strive to serve God, your customers, and your employees. You may even wonder if there are other Christians who own businesses trying to achieve these same goals. There are, and FCCI has found them. FCCI, the Fellowship of Companies for Christ International, has spent the last few decades building a network of some of the nation's strongest CEOs who share your faith. We want to connect you with them. Join us September 18th to the 22nd at the Ritz-Carlton in Sarasota and meet well-known leaders like George Barna, Horst Schulze, the founder of Ritz-Carlton, and former Miami Dolphins and Marlins owner Wayne Huizenga Jr. Learn how to better steward your company for God with hundreds of other Christian CEOs at this year's FCCI Business Conference in September. The Fellowship of Companies for Christ International. There are only 100 seats remaining. Reserve your place today at fcci.org. That's fcci.org.
Why is a prominent Beverly Hills plastic surgeon talking some of his patients out of facelifts? The embarrassment of loose, sagging skin is what brings them to Dr. John Levy's office eager to schedule facelifts. But he cautions that it's a big decision.
Look, facelifts deliver incredible results. Nothing else even comes close. But it is surgery, and it isn't for everyone.
For those who don't want invasive surgery, he now has an alternate solution he believes in: Lift and Firm Sculpting Treatment, the new powerhouse formula from Beverly Hills MD Skincare.
What we're looking at here is cutting-edge technology. My own patients, my own family members, we've had amazing results with it.
Lift and Firm can help take years, even decades, off your appearance. It's that revolutionary, and it's backed by the experts at Beverly Hills MD Skincare. And today you can try it risk-free, because if you can avoid surgery and still look decades younger, why wouldn't you? Call 800-835-0957, 800-835-0957, or go to lift17.com now. That's 800-835-0957 or lift17.com. Lift17.com.
Saying I don't know is no longer acceptable.
Okay, stand by for audio.
660 AM, The Answer. Only for Texas. This is the Wells Report on 660 AM, The Answer.
With respect to the Republicans, I think what it tells you is that if you keep on blocking judges from getting on the bench, then courts can't issue decisions. And what that means is then you're going to have the status quo frozen, and we're not going to be able to make progress on some very important issues. Now, that may have been their strategy from the start, but it's not a sustainable strategy, and it's certainly a strategy that will be broken by this election, unless their basic theory is that we will never confirm judges again. Hopefully that's not their theory, because that's not how our democracy is designed.
Yeah, so the problem was he didn't have one more judge to vote against his executive amnesty. Here's what we found out on that vote today in the Supreme Court. There are 4 people on the Supreme Court of the United States who are leftist, progressive, anti-American, Democrat thugs. That's what we learned in this vote today. Half of the Supreme Court is comprised of leftist, progressive politicians. That's what we found out. Because if you're going to vote, set aside not just American law, but America's entire form of checks and balances in government, you are truly missing the boat. And that's something, that missing of that boat has got to be conscious. You're listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer. Back with more in just a moment.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? Learn how you can get stock market gains but never stock market losses. Join Eric Oberto for the Retirement and Income Radio Show every Saturday from noon to 1 p.m. Call Eric right now and request a free Safe Information Money Kit and 115-page Safe Money book at 844-503-7233. That's 844-503-SAFE. Listen to the Retirement and Income Radio Show, Saturdays at noon on 660 AM The Answer.
Hey, everybody. Mark Davis for my friends at ViaScan of Las Colinas. You know, good health is a series of good decisions. Decisions to eat right, decisions to exercise more, decisions to go to ViaScan of Las Colinas and find out regularly what's going on inside your body. Right now, do you have heart plaques or blockages that could be a signal of a heart attack about to happen? Do you have little tiny cancer spots going on that you don't even know about? Well, you ought to know about those. It's called early detection. And ViaScan of Las Colinas is your early detection headquarters, saving lives and saving a bunch of money. I'm in there regularly getting my heart checked out, various vital organs. So ask them when you call them at 972-739-2840, 972-739-2840. The heart scan, looking for plaques and blockages. The body scan, looking for cancers. The carotid artery neck scan, looking for stroke risk. The virtual colonoscopy. They do it all at ViaScan of Las Colinas. 972-739-2840, 972-739-2840.
Hey there, this is Eric Metaxas. Lately, I've been telling you about Liberty University's online degree programs. Liberty University is the world's largest Christian university with over 95,000 students studying around the world through Liberty's online programs. While there are a lot of universities who've jumped into online education, few can deliver on the promise of a quality education with such flexibility, and even fewer can actually point to a graduate of their online program like my friend Morgan from Nashville.
I did it. I actually got my degree from Liberty University. 2 degrees, actually. Not only has this process taught me self-discipline, I've also learned that it is never too late to fulfill your dreams. And I did it all online. I did it, and you can too.
Pick up your cell phone now and dial pound 250 and say the keywords Liberty University. That's pound 250 and say the keywords Liberty University. Dial pound 250 and say the keywords Liberty University now. Flexible, affordable, possible. Liberty University online.
660 AM The Answer. KSKY Balch Springs, Dallas, Fort Worth. The official radio station of Decision 2016. The most important election of our lifetime.
Fox News Radio, I'm Rich Dennison. Another Baltimore police officer acquitted in the Freddie Gray case. Gray family attorney William Murphy Jr. says his clients respect the outcome, but they're not happy.
This family is enormously frustrated.
Officer Cesar Goodson had been driving the van carrying Gray when the young man suffered a neck injury. Gray later died. We'll know in just a few hours whether Britain will leave the European Union. Balloting has closed with the country fairly divided over the issue.
46 million people registered to vote. That's 70% of the population.
Those who support leaving the 28-nation EU cite immigration concerns, while opponents say leaving could adversely affect the British economy. Results expected early Friday morning. LeBron James won't be taking part in the Summer Olympics in Rio. The NBA star announcing Thursday he'll skip the games, where he's won basketball gold in the last 2 Olympics. Fox News. We report, you decide.
This is 660 AM, The Answer.
Hey, everybody, it's Mark Davis from my friends at Climate Evangelista Eye Center. June is Cataract Awareness Month, so let's get aware of cataracts. Quick, what are they? When do you get them? What's the onset feel like or look like? I don't know either, so let's learn some stuff during Cataract Awareness Month with a free screening at Climate Evangelista Eye Center. 1-800-714-2020, 1-800-714-2020. Is your vision blurry? You have glare at night or halos? Could be the onset of cataracts. Let's get the free screening now at 1-800-714-2020. Payment only required if you choose to move forward with an extensive comprehensive exam. Do all the things you love without the limits of cataracts, thanks to my friends at Climate Evangelista. Schedule this free cataract screening in June at 1-800-714-2020, 1-800-714-2020, or LASIKsurgery.com. Experienced surgeons, advanced technology, and a healthy dose of Texas hospitality. Get a free cataract screening at Climate Evangelista, 1-800-714-2020, or learn more at LASIK, L-A-S-I-K, LASIKsurgery.com. Hey, it's Mark Davis for my friends at Abacus Foundation Repair. You and I both know that the warmer, wetter seasons in Texas can give us real foundation problems. Wet spells, dry spells. Let me put you in touch with Abacus Foundation Repair if you even think you've got any kind of foundation problem. This is what I did. I called them. You'll be glad you did too. At 972-406-9000. Call the right people first. Abacus Foundation Repair, 972-406-9000. Why are they the right people to call if you got cracks in the walls or sheetrock or doors that are sticking or any kind of suspicion? Because they're going to map your house with the skill of an engineer. Look for possible causes like a plumbing issue so the problem doesn't come back. When they're done, you get a lifetime warranty. You can transfer free and clear to any new owner. It adds to your home's value. North Texas homeowners trust Abacus Foundation Repair, so give them a call. 972-406-9000. Abacus, A-B-A-C-U-S. AbacusFoundationRepair.com. You'll be glad you called, so call 972-406-9000 or AbacusFoundationRepair.com.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus, from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, call 1-800-400-5839. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 90% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-400-5839. That's 1-800-400-5839.
Why are so many people turning to the Nutrimos system at Fat Loss DFW? I'll let my buddy Nick tell you.
Well, first of all, I've lost weight.
Yeah, you have.
31 pounds. Heather, I know you lost 36 pounds.
I have, and I did.
And that's awesome. But here's the best part. When you're done with the 40-day program, you're not taking supplements. You're not eating protein bars. Forget that packaged food.
Ugh, packaged food. What is that stuff anyway, dude?
I don't think it's food. And you don't have to eat it with Fat Loss DFW because their program works.
I'm Dr. Jimmy from Fat Loss DFW, and I love hearing things like this. People lose the weight, they lose the fat, they keep it off, and there is no weird maintenance program afterward. When you're done, you're done. You're lean, you're mean, you're healthy for life.
I'm telling you it works. So here's what you need to do. Make the decision right now to make the change. Pick up the phone, dial 844-801-THIN, 844-801-THIN, or go to the web. Look up fatlossdfw.com now.
As a listener to this station, you've heard a variety of companies advertising their products and services, many of them for a number of years.
I'm Walt Parker with InvestingMakesMeSick.com. I've gotten absolutely great results. No matter who's advertising, it definitely pays off. Doesn't matter what business they're in. I think they'll find it's going to be very rewarding.
My name is John Duncan, and I'm the CEO and founder of Bioscan of Loss Cleanest
It's simply the most effective advertising that I can do. I've advertised for the last 14 years on television, radio, and newspaper, and advertising with 660 gets the best results.
Hi, I'm Marcia West, Senior Account Manager for 660 AM The Answer. For 20 years, I've worked with companies, both big and small, to create cost-effective radio campaigns that get results. Let me do the same for you. Contact me today at mwest@ksky.com. That's mwest@ksky.com. I want to help you grow your business.
In Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 2, God says, "Write in a book all the words I've spoken to you." Is there a story in you today? Have you ever felt urged by God to write those words in a book? Zulon Press is the largest, most experienced Christian self-publisher in the world, and they're offering a free publishing guide at christianpublishingguide.com. They've helped thousands of people just like you tell their stories and touched thousands of lives.
Share your story and find out more today at 660amtheanswer.com. Visit 660amtheanswer.com now.
660 AM. 660 AM. The Answer. 660 AM. TheAnswer.com. Is anybody out there paying attention to what's going on in this country, in this state, and in this city? We know one man who is. You got questions? He's got answers. This is the Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. See, what are the quick implications of the British vote to leave the European Union? Stocks are plunging. The American, the British pound is down 11% to the U.S. dollar. Tokyo stocks are down 7%. This is all stuff that's going to reverse itself the next couple of weeks or so. And so what they're also trying to figure out is, okay, what's going to happen next? What will happen next? Because it appears as though Scotland is going to leave the United Kingdom. They will vote to become their own king, or they'll vote to become their own kingdom, or whatever it is that they do.
Didn't they just vote to stay with the United Kingdom?
They did. As a matter of fact, Vicky just asked, hey, wait a minute, didn't Scotland just a couple of years ago vote to stay in the United Kingdom? Yes, they did. Well, now they're going to try that again because Scotland kind of likes the fact that they are a part of the European Union. You know, it's truly amazing. There are 3 votes. This is the third being played out in front of us, where the British people have truly screwed up. The first vote was to allow the I can't remember what it's exactly called, the health service, the British health service. I can't remember what it's called. Maybe you can let me do this while I'm talking. One was to allow that. The other one was to listen to these leftist morons and give away their guns, which was probably one of the dumbest things that the Brits have ever done. It's really true. It's truly sad. Except maybe this. There is no reason for the Brits to leave the European Union. These are things that they could take care of on their own, but they'd rather make a gigantic mess than just clean up a bad one. So I don't know exactly what they're trying to get done, but whatever it is, I think they're going to be extremely regretful about it in very short order. The National Health Service, NHS, okay? It's the National Health Service. They really screwed themselves up on that, because now they have barely adequate healthcare. Certainly dramatically steps down from the American healthcare system, even as badly screwed up as ours is. Each of the 4 countries in the United Kingdom has a publicly funded healthcare system referred to as the National Health Service. The terms National Health Service or NHS also are used to refer to the forces of systems collectively. Yeah. The labor government put this in place in 1946, 47, and 48. Huge mistakes. Very much like our Social Security. A program that was essentially put in place to handle some extra funding for the Second World War turns out to be an instrument that will run the United States economy off the road, perhaps forever, until we decide that the government is the world's lousiest pension provision company. Awful. This is so stupid. Yeah, they used to be able to work for a company and get a gold watch and then sit back with your pension from the company and retire. Well, you don't get to do that anymore because there are no pensions. Now we have the 401k. Brilliant idea. No, really. Let's go ahead and put let's go ahead and become day traders with other people doing the trades for us. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Anyway, enough of that. One of the reasons that that Sky News is reporting now that the United Kingdom has voted to leave the European Union is because of the ridiculous leftist propagandized immigration march that has been made into Europe by politicians of all these nations in the European Union. They have decided that multiculturalism is the way to go, and by golly, that's what they're going to do. And by golly, it's going to cost them the European Union. The entire thing is going to fall on its butt, which is too bad, because it's a great idea, and it's going to take a long time for it to come back. I suppose that it'll be at least 10 years. If the European Union can survive 10 years, Britain will probably rejoin. But this will signal two things. Thing number one, it's going to be rough in Europe for a while. Vladimir Putin is sitting there going, gosh, you know what? Best part about this is the European Union is going to collapse. It's going to be back to the Warsaw Pact and NATO. And what's going to end up happening is that instead of having to actually fight my way across Europe to take over Europe, I'll just offer to buy their land at pennies on the dollar or pennies on the euro or pennies on whatever it is that is left after the European Union folds up. It's so stupid. Oh, well. But part of it is because all of these people are coming out of the Middle East and doing their dead level best to ruin the countries that they're now moving into. This, of course, is not the actual truth, according to a group like CAIR. The Council on American Islamic Relations exists to protect the Muslim population in America from reality. It exists to create opportunities for terrorists to be able to walk right into a Christmas party and blow people away, and then blame the people that are shrieking in horror as being racist because they just didn't shut up and die quietly. That's CAIR. And they're out again. This time they've been caught cold, just bold-faced lying by Robert Spencer in Front Page Magazine. This is really good. And he points out some very serious reality that they should have anticipated, but CAIR is, if anything, somewhat stupid. They're somewhat stupid. Their answer to being caught in stupidity is to kill enough people so that they stop being called stupid. Yeah, that's right. And I did say that because they're linked to Hamas. They are the public relations firm for Hamas. And what they try to do is they try to look painfully. You will sit there and you will see videotapes of horror and death and death and horror. And if you stand up and say, my God, what are these people trying to do? They go, what do you mean, these people? Hey, that's not us. No, it really is you. It really is. Especially you. Here's what Robert Spencer writes. Instead of announcing a program to teach young Muslims why they should reject the understanding of Islam held by the Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, and other jihad groups, the Hamas-linked Council on American Islamic Relations held a press conference earlier this week to unveil its latest cynical and deceptive report on Islamophobia in the U.S. Islamophobia is an enterprise designed to intimidate people into thinking there's something wrong with opposing jihad terror. Robert Spencer says this is no different, this new report. A few seconds of thought would expose the deceptiveness of it to anyone, except, of course, the mainstream media. But Hamas-linked CAIR is banking on the fact that most people, especially on the left, but not limited to it, will not give the report even that much thought, but will take it at face value, anxious to avoid being stigmatized as an Islamophobe. According to an NBC report on CAIR's latest Islamophobia salvo, 33 Islamophobic groups had access to $205 million between 2008 and 2013 to spread fear and hatred of Muslims. Are these groups part of one umbrella organization? No. Are they collaborators? No. Some are, some aren't. Do they share funding? No. So 205 million, if that figure is even accurate, which is basically made out of whole cloth by CAIR, over 6 years spread out among 33 different and quite disparate organizations actually averages out to a bit over $1 million a year per organization, a figure that is actually not a large operating budget for a major organization, doubtless much smaller than what CAIR uses every year itself. Yeah. The objective of all of this is to spread fear and hatred of Muslims. That is not my objective. I would venture to say it's not the objective of any of the other people or organizations mentioned in the Hamas-linked CAIR report. CAIR's entire premise is false. That to call attention to jihad terror activity and to call for effective lawful responses to it is tantamount to spreading fear and hatred of Muslims. Hamas-linked CAIR and its allies have spread this big lie so consistently for years. It has entered the American mainstream, but that doesn't make it any more true than it was when they first advanced it. If the Hamas-linked CAIR had ever provided one example of a foe of jihad terror who was simultaneously not an Islamophobe in their eyes, this charge might have more credibility, but they never have. As far as Hamas-linked CAIR is concerned, any opposition to jihad terror is Islamophobic and spreading fear and hatred of Muslims. Islamophobia is not based on a hatred of either the religion or the race or the races. I mean, Islam covers all the races. It's like being racist about Americans because they're everybody. Asians, Indians, Native Americans, Germans, Irish, Spaniards, Caucasians, Russians, Poles, Chinese, Koreans. We all come to the United States and we become Americans. Very much similar in Islam. All kinds of people are Muslim. It's okay. But what CAIR is doing here is they are providing cover for terrorism. That's what they've always done. So what they're doing is they're calling out in this latest report all of this horrifying Islamophobia and how Muslims have to fight for their very lives in this country of bigots and haters and Islamophobes. I don't know how much money they spent on providing this report, but I really wish they had spent that much money providing teaching for their children. The terrorism jihad itself is counterproductive, antithetical to the greater goals of Islam. But of course, how could you possibly expect the public relations firm of Hamas, a terrorist organization, to want to do anything except promote terrorism? This is the Wells Report.
Hi, I'm Carl Deichler, the CEO of Beachbody, and I'm here to tell you about an amazing new way you can start losing weight for free right now. You've probably seen our workout DVDs on TV like P90X, Insanity, and 21 Day Fix. We just launched a beta trial of our new digital video platform, Beachbody On Demand. So while we're testing out this new digital video service, I'm inviting you to use it for free for 30 days. That means you can lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, even 30 pounds without paying a dime. Text the word trial to 303030, and you can do 30 days of P90X, Insanity, or any of over 400 workouts for free. And here's the catch. In return, all I ask is you let us know what you think of the service so we can make Beachbody On Demand the best fitness and weight loss site ever created. Just text trial to 303030 and get started for free right now. Again, text trial to 303030.
Message and data rates may apply. Membership fees apply after 30-day free trial. Cancel anytime.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus components of 20 other major home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-400-3230. Home insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-400-3230. That's 1-800-400-3230. 1-800-400-3230.
Built on the values of the free market and the spirit of entrepreneurship, Northwood University prepares future leaders for global free enterprise. Hey, Mark Davis, longtime fan of Northwood. Through Northwood University's experiential learning, students get hands-on experience and practical application. This includes everybody from undergrads in the adult degree program, graduate students in the DeVos Graduate School. Northwood faculty are business professionals, managers, and entrepreneurs within their fields of expertise. Northwood's specialty undergraduate business degrees offer rich experiences in accounting and finance, franchise management, healthcare management, and much more. Graduate programs include a distinctive case study-based MBA program and an online Master of Science program in organizational leadership. You can develop lifelong critical thinking skills, distinguish yourself in your career, drive change in the workplace, make your mark on a global free enterprise society. Earn your degree from Northwood University. Learn more at northwood.edu. That's northwood.edu.
How much of your life are you losing because of pain? I'm Dr. Chad Glines, DC at Genesis Back and Neck, and I really do want to give you your life back.
Hi, my name is Brenda. I had 5 of the lower disc of my back that had herniated, and they had pressed against the nerves, and I could not move. Hadn't felt my right leg in 8 months. The pain was so bad. Neurologists and surgeons had told me I'd never walk. And then I went back into the office with Dr. Chad, and I told him, I've had so many people tell me there's nothing I can do. And he says, I'm pretty sure I can get you out of that wheelchair. And little by little, he got me up walking, and it has gotten so much better. I cannot tell you how much I admire everybody in that office.
That just blesses me to hear that. At Genesis, we accept most major insurances, and your first visit will be at no charge. Call me. 817-328-1922. That's 817-328-1922, or online at genesisback.com.
Welcome back, Summer. It's a hot one. This is Nolan Ryan. Go with the pros who know how to beat Texas heat. American Standard Air. Born and bred in the Lone Star State. That's American Standard. Comfort the way you like it. AmericanStandardAir.com.
That's right, Nolan. And your trusted independent American Standard dealer is Mathis Air and Heat.
Why is that? Mathis Air has been serving you and your neighbors for over 20 years. They offer 24-hour emergency service and 100% financing for 60 months and 0% interest on a new system with approved credit. So make the call today for your free in-home estimate or $49 tune-up at 972-279-4COOL. That's 972-279-4COOL. Or go to mathisair.com. That's mathisair.com. Get 0% APR for 60 months with a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call 1-888-534-6894 for details about credit costs and terms. For new accounts, the APR for purchase is 28.99%, subject to credit approval.
660 AM, The Answer. 660 AM, TheAnswer.com. The Wells Report, a daily
Also, a new special report coming up at 40.
of anybody trying to take advantage of us on 660 AM, The Answer.
That's right. I was talking to Vicky while you were doing that liner. Yeah. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, so Britain has voted to leave the European Union. A lot of people involved in the stock game, which could be all of us because we have 401ks. Probably going to see some instability in the markets for the next few days. Don't panic. It'll all settle out. I mean, you know, this is it's a huge error. It's a big mistake. There are a lot of people that are sitting there going, see, I told you this was stupid. I told you it was a dumb idea to begin with. Yeah, that's right. But it was also a very good idea for Europe, especially when they're poised right next to that gigantic behemoth of a very serious country named Russia. That was, to put themselves together in a European Union was a good idea, but to watch it fall apart because politics is more important than reality, again, really? This is an instructive tale for all of us here in the United States. We can't let our politicians run everything. That's important. More about that in a minute. Let me get to Tony. Tony, thanks very much for joining us, my friend. How are you?
Thank you, sir. But a small comment about Britain. I think the people of Britain spoke out because what triggered this issue is what's going on with radical Islam within Britain.
I would agree.
And that was triggered that. Now, dropping the 8% in their currency, that will help the export and help terrorism, people go back and forth because their money will be not that high. So I think the people have spoken, and maybe and if you look at the whole picture is good.
I think that what will probably end up happening is that it's going to be a tough 10 years for Europe in general and probably Britain in specific. Because, Tony, it's possible that Scotland's going to leave the United Kingdom.
Yes.
And they're going to join EU by themselves. It seems to me that what will end up happening is that Great Britain will very likely end up being just a couple of small countries, if not a singular country, England. And what will end up happening is that they'll all run back to the European Union in about 10 years, if it's still there. This is a bad mistake. I realize it wasn't perfect, but this is a case of instead of calling the politicians to task for making stupid socio experimental changes in their countries, instead of calling them to task and forcing a vote of no confidence and changing the government, which is the parliamentary system in all those countries, instead of doing that, they just waited until the explosion came, and the explosion happened tonight in Great Britain. Yes. Tony, thanks for
it is an explosion.
Thank you for joining us, Tony. I appreciate it. Always look forward to your calls, my friend. Back with more in a moment.
The Mike Gallagher Show.
Newt Gingrich just returned from Europe. He'll break down the big vote in Britain regarding their participation in the European Union. I'm sure he'll also touch upon Donald Trump's terrific speech this week attacking Hillary. Also, speaking of the presidential race, I have a world exclusive. We'll talk to two people who may or may not be Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump at the same time.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 10, right before Dennis Prager at noon on 660 AM. The Answer.
Now you can hear the Joy of a Rich Retirement radio show at its new time, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Listen to Dr. W. Neil Gallagher and Matthew Gallagher as they explain how you can have a worry-free retirement. They'll also help you make sense of today's financial headlines. Planning for your retirement is not an option. Get the advice you need to achieve financial success in these uncertain times. Listen to the Joy of a Rich Retirement at its new time this Saturday at 1 p.m. on 660 AM The Answer.
This is Albert Mohler for townhall.com. Did Jesus have a wife? If you were to believe the publishing arm of the Smithsonian Institution, you'll be led to believe that such a position was at least viable based on contemporary scholarship. Until last week, that is. We were told back in 2012 that the entire theological world had changed when Karen King of the Harvard Divinity School published her findings about an ancient papyrus manuscript fragment written in Coptic that had been found indicating that Jesus might have had a wife. The problem? The scrap was a forgery. Writing in The Atlantic last week, Ariel Sabar, using investigative techniques that should have been available to just about anyone in the world of scholarship way back in 2012, traced the document to a man who in all likelihood had actually been the forger. The man was located in Florida, where it turns out the man was a major pornographer. It confirms what I wrote back in 2012 when the story emerged. This is actually sensationalism masquerading as scholarship. I'm Albert Mohler.
The following is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing everything more clearly again. We are now offering free in-home trials of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear to anyone who calls this special toll-free number now, 1-800-400-1268. Call in the next 10 minutes and you'll also qualify for free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers. It adjusts to let you find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so invisible, people may not even know you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear everything more clearly again for free with a 100% free in-home trial, free shipping, and even free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-400-1268. That's 1-800-400-1268. 1-800-400-1268.
Hey there, this is Eric Metaxas. Lately, I've been telling you about Liberty University's online degree programs. Liberty University is the world's largest Christian university with over 95,000 students studying around the world through Liberty's online programs. While there are a lot of universities who've jumped into online education, few can deliver on the promise of a quality education with such flexibility, and even fewer can actually point to a graduate of their online program like my friend Morgan from Nashville.
I did it. I actually got my degree from Liberty University. 2 degrees, actually. Not only has this process taught me self-discipline, I've also learned that it is never too late to fulfill your dreams. And I did it all online. I did it, and you can too.
Pick up your cell phone now and dial pound 250 and say the keywords Liberty University. That's pound 250 and say the keywords Liberty University. Dial pound 250 and say the keywords Liberty University now. Flexible, affordable, possible. Liberty University online.
There's to do at Celebrate Freedom 26.
Saturday, June 25th, South Fork Ranch, with so much to do at the Texas Scottish Rite Hospital for Children Kids area. Children will love the all-you-can-play and ride all day for just $20, with mobile video games, inflatables, sport games, face painting, live performances, and more.
We're going to be bouncing.
From Interstate Batteries, the North Texas Chevy dealers, Abilene Christian University online graduate programs, Frontier Communications, Cornerstone Staffing, and all-around amusement. Details at CelebrateFreedom.com. It's time to honor our veterans with the Starkey Mortgage Veteran of the Month. If you know a veteran who deserves this honor, then go to 660amtheanswer.com and nominate them to be the Starkey Mortgage Veteran of the Month. Winners will receive a gift card from Crossroads Diner, a $100 gift card from the Crazy Gun Dealer, and an award from Starkey Mortgage. Plus, come up to the studios to meet Mark Davis and Jon-David Wells. Go to 660amtheanswer.com to nominate your veteran as the Starkey Mortgage Veteran of the Month. Starkey Mortgage is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 2146. This is not a commitment to lend. Specific underwriting guidelines must be met.
660 AM, The Answer. Only for Texas. This is the Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells, and so all of these spasms of stock manipulations and prices going up and prices going down and the pound fluctuating against the dollar in swings of 8 to 11%, all because Britain has voted to leave the European Union, except for one small little thing. This is a non-binding referendum. The government doesn't actually have to do it. Now, what this means is that this is a call to action on the part of the government. You'd better figure out a way to make these people who want to leave stop wanting to leave. It's also a wake-up call for all those moronic idiots in The Hague. You better find a way to make this work, or it's gonna slip away. If it slips away, you're gonna become satellite countries for a much bigger, much more confident, much better financed, free enterprise version of the Soviet Union. See, this is getting out of hand in a big hurry, and you better get it back into hand in a big hurry. You better make sure that those voters that you keep ignoring because, my God, we're in Brussels and we know more than everybody else. See, this is what happens when leftist progressive politics runs amok. All these politicians believe they know better than their people. And there's also something else. Every one of these countries has a totalitarian past. There are people in every single one of the European Union countries that have fresh memories of total domination by a government. All of these European stories of special powers and magic and just rulers named Arthur and all of these things came from despotism, came from totalitarian torture of the people. And when it came right down to it, that's why our founding framers decided to come to this nation and start over with something better. What is happening to the European Union is the fault of its politicians. The reason the politicians are in charge is because the people saw fit to put them there and then did not hold them accountable for success. They didn't hold them accountable for anything. So what they've ended up doing is they've ended up watching these politicians who believe that they are their forebears and can dominate the people at will because they're smarter, have outsmarted themselves. My God, we're at The Hague in Brussels. How could we possibly be wrong? Look at these beautiful red robes we wear. Yeah. Yeah. And now, 51.8% of people in Great Britain now want to leave the European Union and abandon prosperity for at least a decade. Why? Because the politicians are completely screwed up and the people are tired of having to deal with their mistakes. Let's get a special report now from SRN on 660 AM The Answer.
This is SRN News Special Report, the British referendum. I'm Ron DeRockstrup. British media outlets BBC, ITV, and Sky News all projecting the Leave vote will win the British referendum on EU membership. The British pound has tumbled to a 31-year low as the European Union vote results show the Leave side in the lead by over 950,000 votes after over 250 of 382 counting centers reported results. That's about a 52 to 48% lead. British media outlets are saying that the stocks have dove as well on jittery investors. Tokyo stocks plunged more than 7% on the news, and South Korea's Kospi tumbled about 4%. Once again, British media outlets are reporting that the British voters have opted to leave the European Union. This has been an SRN News special report, The British Referendum. I'm Ron DeRockstra.
You're hearing tomorrow's front page on the Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer.
Oh.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. This is a cautionary tale. This is a cautionary tale. People wonder what the genesis, what the beginning of my conservatism was. It is seeing things like this. It's seeing politicians malfunction time after time after time. LBJ and the way he handled Vietnam. Richard Nixon and the way he handled Watergate and all of that. His personal demons catching up to him, feeding his paranoia, and costing him his job. Jimmy Carter, good man, could not deal with the Middle East, found himself victimized by the Arab oil embargo. The Americans weren't ready for it. Sent a ripple through the economy. Before you could say, holy moly, we had 17% inflation and the American people said, see you, Jimmy. And then Ronald Reagan, who didn't make mistakes, who said we needed to be Americans. We needed to be able to project power. We have to have a Navy to do that, and we're going to build the Navy. He said we're going to trust the American people to be able to buy the stuff that they think they want to have, and we're going to allow the economy to flourish under the laissez-faire ideals of supply-side economics. And it ignited a 20-year economic boom, the likes of which no one had ever seen. But the politicians were still there, so we ended up getting out of all of that with a national debt somewhere around $5 trillion. George H.W. Bush, good man, best qualified president ever, perfunctory job of handling the profession, a professional execution of the presidency. Very smooth, very good, uninspiring, did not get reelected. Big mistake by the American people. But he did just fine. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton handled the economy beautifully. Spent a lot of time with Reagan talking about the economy. Followed his advice. And thanks to Newt Gingrich ramming down welfare reform and a balanced budget down his throat, Hillary is going to put Bill in charge of the economy because he was so good at it last time. No, he was good at being a teammate to Newt Gingrich. And that was the secret to Bill Clinton's power. He knew how to be a politician. He was the last Democrat president. No, you don't get to abandon the United States of America for your leftist thrust into totalitarianism. You don't get to do that. That's not what leftist politics in the United States are all about. And he kept to his own counsel. His wife is a leftist progressive who is sure that she's the smartest person in the room, that everybody else is just a moron that she has to take care of. You know, the puppy that she has to clean up after in exasperated ways. Well, that's not it. dear. And then George W. Bush. Great president. Did a great job. Maligned by the press. Abused by the government. Harry Reid specifically. And made a couple of significant errors. Didn't stand for his agenda. The one he ran on twice. The one I voted for twice. Because of a little thing called 9/11. Had the right policy. The Bush Doctrine, it was called. But didn't follow it up. Didn't make it a reality. Did not pull the trigger against those people that were funding and making possible worldwide terrorism. Saw the actual mission clearly. Pragmatic, straightforward, loving George W. Bush got it. If you were a terrorist or you aid and abet a terrorist, we're going to come looking for you and we're going to have you. And he should have followed it up. He should have actually done it. Had he done that, then we probably would have avoided President Obama, who is just somebody who believes that the reality of all of it is simple. You guys need to sit down and shut up and let the professionals handle things. Except they're terrible at it. Which takes us back to the European Union and Angela Merkel telling all those people that are saying, why are you letting these people into our country that can't keep their hands off of my wife, my daughter, my sister? Why are you doing that? Because multiculturalism is so very important to the future of Europe. No, it's not. And instead of that moment calling for a no confidence vote against the premiership of Angela Merkel, what's ended up happening is that these politicians have so blundered it, so screwed it up, that now they are poised on the brink of losing the entire union. The entire world will be different tomorrow than it was when you went to bed tonight. All because politicians cannot keep from screwing it up. So what's the solution, Jon-David? How do we keep from following in the footsteps of all of this? We stop electing presidents, senators, congressmen, governors. We stop electing people who want to tell us that we're living poorly, that we're stupid, we don't know what we're doing, we need to sit down, shut up, and color while the professionals take over, while the adults in the room handle the business of the United States. Those people need to be sent to Europe immediately. They need to go work in The Hague. They need to live in Brussels and talk about how superior they are to everyone else. That's what they need to do. While we, the members of the bucolic proletariat, will simply take over the country and run it pretty well. Thank you. And that's what this election is about. This election is getting rid of those millstone politicians hanging around our necks, threatening to destroy the actual republic that has led the league in the world since 1938. We must do better, and fortunately, we can do better. And how can we do better than, say, for example, what they're doing in the United Kingdom? We're going to fire our politicians, and we're going to get real people in those offices, and we're going to move forward. That's what we're going to do. This is the Wells Report.
Hi, this is Andy Tuttle, host of Tuttle Talk every Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer. We're in a real estate market where there's a lot of difficulty, but in difficulty, there's a lot of opportunity as well. Buying, selling, avoiding foreclosure, modifying your credit, all these things are so important to your livelihood. This show is dedicated to cutting through some of the big headlines that you see out there and teaching you how to win in any marketplace. Thank you for tuning in to Tuttle Talk every Sunday, 4 p.m. on 660 AM The Answer. I look forward to speaking with you.
You need a plan as you get closer to retirement. A plan that'll take you from where you are now to the retirement that you've always dreamed about. The first step on that path is to tune into the Wealth Smart Radio Show, Sundays at 7 a.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer. You only get to retire once, so it's really important you do it right. And your host, Reed Johnson, president of Lake Point Advisory Group, helps people retire successfully every day. So don't miss Wealth Smart every Sunday at 7 a.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer.
I used to love wearing dresses and shorts. Then I started getting spider veins, and even worse, those embarrassing, bulging, varicose veins. For a while, I covered up my legs. But then I discovered Vein Clinics of America.
Vein Clinics of America is the oldest, largest, most experienced vein treatment center in the U.S. And for 35 years, they've been the leaders in the treatment of vein disease. Using state-of-the-art laser and minimally invasive treatments, they can begin restoring the natural beauty of your legs in as little as an hour with no downtime, and most treatments are covered by your insurance.
My legs look great and feel great. I even love wearing summer dresses and shorts again.
Make sure your legs look and feel their best for summer. Call now and schedule a free fast-track consultation to find out how you can finally get rid of those embarrassing varicose and spider veins. Space is limited, so call 800-375-4806. That's 800-375-4806. 800-375-4806.
Are you the mom of a 7 to 12-year-old beautiful tween girl? Have you noticed that the world is pressuring your daughter to grow up too fast? Take a deep breath. You're not alone. Created by best-selling author Dana Gresh, the Secret Keeper Girl All-New Purple Party Tour is a live stage event that helps moms teach their girls the secrets of true beauty and biblical modesty. Through live worship, deep Bible teaching, a modesty fashion show, and the famously quirky Truth or Dare modesty test, Secret Keeper Girl reinforces the message every girl needs to hear, that she's a priceless masterpiece created by God. You and your daughter will share special moments that you'll always remember. The Secret Keeper Girl All-New Purple Party Tour. It's the most fun you'll ever have digging into God's Word.
SecretKeeperGirl.com. Part of the Dallas Baptist University Concert Series. September 24th at First Euless. SecretKeeperGirl.com.
As a listener to this station, you've heard a variety of companies advertising their products and services, many of them for a number of years.
I'm Walt Parker with InvestingMakesMeSick.com. I've gotten absolutely great results. No matter who's advertising, it definitely pays off. Doesn't matter what business they're in. I think they'll find it's going to be very rewarding.
My name is John Duncan, and I'm the CEO and founder of Bioscan of Las Colinas. It's simply the most effective advertising that I can do. I've advertised for the last 14 years on television, radio, and newspaper, and advertising with 660 gets the best results.
Hi, I'm Marcia West, Senior Account Manager for 660 AM The Answer. For 20 years, I've worked with companies, both big and small, to create cost-effective radio campaigns that get results. Let me do the same for you. Contact me today at mwest@ksky.com. That's mwest@ksky.com. I want to help you grow your business.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. What if you could store your IRA or 401k where you can see, touch, and hold it in person in the form of physical gold and silver coins? I know I would, and you can't do that with stocks. With the Augusta Gold and Silver IRA, you can transfer retirement savings into physical coins, store them where you can actually see them. Free shipping, zero management fees, and Augusta pays all upfront.
Hey, Chris Stevens is on the phone, but this is our last segment.
Free. Rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Enjoys a 98% 5-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call toll-free 1-855-222-5882 now for your free guide to Augusta Gold IRAs. Call toll-free 1-855-222-5882. That's 1-855-222-5882. Or visit AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
If you've got questions, we've got answers. 660 AM. The Answer. Isn't thinking so much more fun than getting yelled at? The Wells Report on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. If you're listening to this on a podcast, this was the day the world changed. The European Union will be shaken to its roots or killed based on the vote tonight. The European Union has outpoliticked itself. It's politicked itself right out of a job. And it's all because of this multiculturalist, political, we can be all things to all people. You can't be all things to all people. Germans like Germany. They don't want it to be Germanistan. The Brits really do love the United Kingdom. They don't want it to be Londonistan. And all these people that have been bringing all these other people, all these completely different cultural people into their countries are destroying what is clearly the last best hope for a functioning and vibrant, prosperous Europe. And these idiots better get it together but fast, because they're going to watch the whole thing just flitter through their fingers because they were stupid. The executive producer of the Wells Report is Vicky Steifer. Technical director, conductor of the Wells Report Orchestra is Magic Matt Swinney. My name is Jon-David Wells. God bless you and yours. See you again tomorrow for another edition of the Wells Report.
This is Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, and I'd like to invite you to join me for our talk show every Sunday morning. We're actually trying to convert the world to organics. We talk about the natural organic program for farming, ranching, gardening, and pest control. Also, a lot of talk about health issues for animals and people. Hope you can join us for all the fun.
Make sure to tune in to Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, every Sunday morning from 8 to 11 a.m. right here on 660 a.m. The Answer.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-700-2292. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy.
When you're done, I
We
need you to
depend
read
on your
this and
success
proof
and
it for
offer a
me.
guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-700-2292. That's 1-800-700-2292. 1-800-700-2292.
John Truitt, CEO of Simple Sleep Services here. You've probably heard Mark Davis talk about sleep apnea and snoring. If you're ready to stop snoring and treat your sleep apnea, you have options. Wear a big, bulky CPAP mask, have surgery, and deal with the recovery and downtime. Or go with the Simple solution. The Simple Sleep system from Simple Sleep Services is a compact, comfortable, custom-fit solution that's proven to stop snoring and treat your sleep apnea. It's covered by most medical insurance. No mood-killing mask, no pain or downtime, just a better night's sleep for you and the one next to you. Stop dreaming about a better night's sleep. Learn more at simplesleepservices.com or call 469-685-1700. That's 469-685-1700 or click simplesleepservices.com. The choice is simple. Go to simplesleepservices.com. Offices conveniently located in both Dallas and Fort Worth. Stop snoring, sleep healthy, live life.
660 AM The Answer. KSKY Balch Springs, Dallas, Fort Worth. The official radio station of Decision 2016. The most important election of our lifetime.
Fox News Radio, I'm Rich Dennison. The British pound falling to a 31-year low as voting results now showing Britons wanting to leave the 28-nation European Union. Sister network Sky News projecting the leave vote will prevail. U.S. futures trading sharply lower at this hour. A 4-4 tie in the Supreme Court blocks President Obama's plan to shield millions living in the U.S. illegally from deportation.
I think it is heartbreaking for the millions of immigrants who made their lives here, who raised families here.
President Obama says blocking the immigration plan takes the U.S. further from the country we aspire to be. An L.A. jury has decided the band Led Zeppelin did not steal the opening to its classic anthem, Stairway to Heaven. The trust for the late songwriter Randy Wolf claimed Led Zeppelin guitarist Jimmy Page and singer Robert Plant stole a riff from Wolf's 1968 instrumental, Taurus. Fox News. We report, you decide.
660 AM, The Answer.
If you've ever wondered what it would be like to experience the magnificent beauty of the Sistine Chapel, the historic Western Wall in Jerusalem, and the beauty of the Greek island of Santorini, all while sailing pristine waters on a 5-star cruise ship, your opportunity now awaits to discover for yourself cities of antiquity and the origins of culture and faith. A journey with meaning awaits you this fall on the footsteps of the Apostles Mediterranean Cruise, September 22nd through October 9th. For more information and to register, visit 660amtheanswer.com.
Join the financial diva, Victoria Woods, and investment advisor Damon King Saturday at 10 a.m. for It's All About the Money, Honey. Concerned about protecting your hard-earned dollars from another market crash? Need a simple plan for not outliving your money or keeping Uncle Sam out of your pocket? Victoria and Damon blend real-world stories with a dose of humor and homespun wisdom. To send your burning money questions and learn your risk speed limit, go to chapelwood.com. That's chapelwood.com. Then listen Saturday at 10 a.m. on 660 AM The Answer for It's All About the Money, Honey.
When you live with back pain, every day has certain challenges, like picking up my kids or trying to get groceries out of the car. I had tried medication. Even a surgery didn't help. That's when I heard about Dr. Chad. I am pain-free. Seriously, no more back pain, no more medications. Thank you, Dr. Chad.
Do you have low back or neck pain? Does it run down your arms or your legs? Do you have a bulging or herniated disc degeneration, or spinal arthritis? Even worse, have you been told you need back surgery or injections? If you answered yes, then please listen to what I have to say. My name is Dr. Chad Glines, DC, at Genesis Back and Neck, and I use the most advanced spinal decompression system available, the DRX 9000, to correct back problems just like yours. If you're a candidate for decompression, you can try out the treatment all at no charge to you. So if you're ready to not hurt anymore and don't want to have surgery, call me at 817-328-1922. That's 817-328-1922, or online at mylowback.com.
This is Albert Mohler for townhall.com. Did Jesus have a wife? If you were to believe the publishing arm of the Smithsonian Institution, you'll be led to believe that such a position was at least viable based on contemporary scholarship. Until last week, that is. We were told back in 2012 that the entire theological world had changed when Karen King of the Harvard Divinity School published her findings about an ancient papyrus manuscript fragment written in Coptic that had been found indicating that Jesus might have had a wife. The problem? The scrap was a forgery. Writing in The Atlantic last week, Ariel Sabar, using investigative techniques that should have been available to just about anyone in the world of scholarship way back in 2012, traced the document to a man who in all likelihood had actually been the forger. The man was located in Florida, where it turns out the man was a major pornographer. It confirms what I wrote back in 2012 when the story emerged. This is actually sensationalism masquerading as scholarship. I'm Albert Mohler.
Dude, do you hear that? What is that? That doesn't sound good. Oh man, this isn't good at all. Hold on. Let me see what this does. Hey, is it better?
Nope. I'm pretty sure this is the opposite of better. Wait a minute, what are we gonna do? This is awful.
Looks like you need the help.
American Leak Detection.
Oh man, it's Will Nell with American Leak Detection.
Save us!
No worries, guys. American Leak Detection has been around for more than 25 years, detecting and repairing hidden leaks in your home. Plus, we do all this without cutting huge holes in your wall.
Thanks, American Leak Detection.
American Leak Detection.
Leak detection without destruction.
Just go to alddfw.com next time to get a hold of us. It's much easier.
American Leak Detection.
Hi, folks. Bill Thomas here with Accurate Foundation Repairs. If you think your home has foundation issues, we'll send one of our highly trained technicians out to give you a free, accurate assessment of your home's foundation at no charge. Accurate Foundation Repair is the only company in the industry that has its warranty backed up by a third-party insurance company. Structure home warranty. Call Accurate Foundation Repair now, 972-623-2500, or on the web at accuratefoundationrepair.com.
Accurate Foundation Repair. We give you a lift for a whole lot less.
There's going to be so much to do at Celebrate Freedom 26.
Saturday, June 25th, South Fork Ranch, with so much to do at the Texas Scottish Rite Hospital for Children Kids area. Children will love the all-you-can-play and ride all day for just $20, with mobile video games, inflatables, sport games, face painting, live performances, and more.
We're going to be bouncing.
From Interstate Batteries, North Texas Chevy dealers, Abilene Christian University online graduate programs, Frontier Communications, Cornerstone Staffing, and all-around amusement. Details at celebratefreedom.com.
660 AM, The Answer.
I love this job. It is an extraordinary privilege. And I wake up every day knowing that what I do matters and that I can help somebody somewhere. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor. If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
I don't know what's come over you. I really don't. Clumsy, thieving, deceitful. You can leave.
The following has been rated PC for politically correct. Pay attention, you just may learn something.
It's the Sage, Larry Elder.
Larry Elder here, the Sage from South Central, the Prince of Pico Union, the Czar of Common Sense, the Great Eldersky, Don Lorenzo. Welcome to the program. No pictocrats allowed because we've got a country to save. So let's get her teed up!
You want to play rock? Say hello to my little friend. What the hell's going on here?
And this is Larry Elder, absolutely, quite positively, no S. And the number 888-971-SAGE, that's 888-971-7243. Remember, it is a 24/7 line. Feel free to call any time of the day or night. Leave a message. Try and keep it under 60 seconds. And please, no N-words or F-bombs. Although last night we did have an N-word. I'll be playing that for you in just a minute. Oh, my goodness. So much to get to. So this morning, I got up early to do the Stuart Varney and Company show on Fox Business. I'm sitting there, and there's breaking news that some guy has gone into a theater in Germany and with a firearm, and apparently turned out to be somebody crazy, although that was the last time I checked. I'm sure there's more information now. Does not appear to be terrorism related, or at least not Islamic terrorism related. He was killed. Nobody else was killed. So it's one of my police officer friends